I was scared of dentists in the dark. I was scared of pretty girls and starting conversations. I like my friend and turning green. You're the magician's assistant in their dreams. When they come unstuck, lady running down to the riptide, taking away to the dark side. I wanna be your left arm. I love you when you're singing that song, and I got a lump in my throat 'cause you're gonna sing the words wrong. There's this movie that I think you'll like. This guy decides to quit his job and heads for New York City. This cowboy is running from himself, and she's been living on the higher shelf. When they come unstuck, lady running down to the riptide, taking away to the dark side. I wanna be your left arm.
Well, hey everyone, how are you doing tonight? I hope you are doing well. Can I get some stuff in the chat, some reactions in the chat in case you can hear us? And I want to welcome on this special happy hour our guest, Kevin. No, our co-host, Kevin Logan. How are you doing, Kevin?
Well, it's nice to see I've been relegated.
Yes, you're only a guest on my channel. No, you're the co-host. Sorry, I got all distracted because of the situation with the music. So, people are saying hi. Want to just make sure everything is going out live. So.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, hello,
yeah.
everybody.
Yeah, I can see stuff. Hurrah! All right, so we are here to discuss things, as we always are on this channel.
Things and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, you say that, but there are some shows where we don't really have things, but we still discuss.
That's true.
The things are optional, the discussion not so much, because otherwise it's just dead air. And dead air
it's boring. Yeah, and sorry if there was some dead air at the start of this. Still doing the whole Zoom thing, making everything work. And
yeah, Christy might be sorry about that. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, officially. And speaking of which, I should show you the screen, Kevin, so you can see what we're going to be looking at.
Oh, I should look at the screen.
That would be helpful. You're checking the cricket. Excellent. Don't insult the king, Christy. How can I? How can I? He's impervious.
There's now an echo.
You hear yourself, or you hear me echoing?
I hear the stream happening.
I
hear that?
Hold on. Maybe I was playing the stream. Sorry, I think I was playing the stream over the stream.
I hear the conversation.
But I couldn't.
I can still hear the fucking conversation.
I've just paused it, and muted it, so it should be fine.
Okay.
All right. Sorry about that.
I can just hear my audio back to myself.
But maybe that's because I put the Zoom on. I'll stop sharing. Has it stopped now? Say something.
I'll say something now and see if I can hear. No, I can no longer hear myself back.
Okay, so it is a Zoom thing. So what I'll do is I'll just share it without sound until it's time to share with sound. How about that? Let's try that. All right. So now you should be able to.
Can I hear myself back? No, I cannot.
Right.
Good.
Kevin sounds a bit muffled, so I'll turn you up for the peeps. Because
Christy may care about that. I do not.
You're always so nice to the people who come and spend their time with us.
True, he's dickhead. I even like that in real life as well.
That's true. That's true. Well, we have no real politics. Tonight is a show of pure YouTube drama. Drama.
You say that, you do have an orange Führer on the screen.
We do, but I mean, he is really orange, isn't he? It's just like tangerine at this point. No, don't get distracted. I guess this was it, basically, as long as you brought it up.
You're like a moth to a tangerine flame. You can't help yourself.
Just get pulled in. Well, let's start the show with this. And we don't need to hear it, absolutely not. But basically, watch Trump. The Mark Stern here tweets, "Women always respond well when you pat your leg to summon them."
Oh, God.
You ready?
Yeah.
Watch Trump's hands, tiny, tiny hands. I missed it. How do we miss it? There we go. Sorry, draw it again. There we go. Tick, tick, tick. And here she comes, like a good girl.
Oh God.
Yeah. Pat,
Pet.
pat, pat. Yeah.
Like a pet dog or something.
Mm-hmm. All right. I think 3 times is enough of that. So yeah, because we can't just go into the actual stuff that we lead in the title. We got to warm people up and let people show up and all that kind of stuff. So before we go into the whole Shu and Sargon stuff, first let's talk about fallout from prior hangouts that have happened. I see that you are in my bookmarks here, Kevin.
Yeah. Yes, that's me again. I've made it into your bookmarks 2 shows running. Although not that you would know that, because that show is now fucking taken down. So I could be lying. I'm not. Yes, the last show we did on my channel, which there you can see is called Graham Linehan of the BBC News. We put that up. I think any objective viewer of that would say that was just us being very harsh, yes, but critique of the man. We weren't saying, we weren't calling for violence or anything.
No.
But it got flagged down. No, and I know it's someone, like a concerted effort on behalf of someone out there, and I'm going to assume it's Graham Linehan's fans.
Yeah.
They do this consistently to every motherfucker. In fact, I'm very surprised EOT hasn't, Essence of Thought hasn't suffered due to this. Maybe they're immune somehow. Maybe they know people. I don't know. Maybe they are in the pay of George Soros. Who knows? Because that's a thing that happens. Anyway, my video got flagged down. My video got flagged down.
Yeah.
So, well, it's our show, but it's on my channel anyway. And I've appealed that. Not that that will do any good, because YouTube are fucking gobshite. But there is a one immediate small problem with that, as well as it's a second strike on the channel. So I've mothballed the motherfucker again, just like I did the first time. Although interestingly, it was Nazis that came for me this time. So Graham Linehan's fans, note what league you're now in with.
Yep. Nazis.
Those are the kinds of people and the kinds of tactics you're now using. Okay, whatever. And as I mentioned there, it's especially ridiculous given Graham has spent the last few weeks fucking whinging about how he's supposedly the one being silenced when it's actually me being silenced. So I've mothballed the channel now. All of my videos are on private to protect the channel. When at least one of those strikes runs out in March, I'll be back. Or I'll put if some miracle happens and the strike goes, then I'll be back at some point in the near future. But let's not hold our breath on that. So you won't be hearing anything from me on that channel for a while, for about a month or so. But what I'll do is my backup channel, I'm going to start putting out, which is something I've been planning to for ages, but never gotten around to because I'm a lazy bastard, putting out all the old Descent of Manosphere videos on that channel and getting that channel sort of running. So I've got like a place to go when inevitably they come for me again, and eventually they'll succeed, I'm sure. So that's that basically. Yeah, Graham Linehan and his fans are garbage.
Yeah, I mean, we knew that already, but further confirmed. And it's good that you're taking measures to protect your channel.
Yeah.
So I haven't really looked in my studio. I didn't see that they'd flagged down the one on my channel. But of course, I didn't tag him into mine. So we did have this conversation about, or was it the other one, I think? I don't know. Anyway, mine hasn't been flagged down for some reason. So
no, you would know, because as soon as you go onto YouTube site, which we know you're on, because literally you've gone to the window with that.
That's true.
Before it lets you do anything, you have to acknowledge the strike.
Oh, okay.
So that's the way it goes.
You have more experience with this than I do.
Oh yes. I've had in the time I've had this channel since I started taking on these motherfuckers.
Yeah.
It's probably in terms of months where I've had at least one strike on it to having no strikes. It's probably about 4-1 in favor of having strike than not having a strike throughout all of that time.
How many times do you think in total you've had strikes?
Oh, wow. Oh God. Over a dozen now.
That's ridiculous.
That is ridiculous. Because that's what they do. They scream free speech. They flag you down. They're garbage. That's one of the main reasons that no matter what lovely persuasive arguments they've got about how they love the free marketplace of ideas, I know from personal experience otherwise.
Yeah. I have only had one strike on my channel, and that was for a video montage thing I put together. It was Carl boomer-splaining to David Sherratt. This would have been, 2015, 2016, maybe 2016, about how he's not saying I'm wiser, I'm just older than you and I've had more experience.
Yeah.
Which is kind of...
That reminds me of the most ridiculous one I had, right? I had one, there was one where I jokingly referred to old Split Cup Kraut. I was referring to him as a Nazi, as a joke. Like I literally said, oh right, Hitler. Jesus Christ, Goebbels, calm down. Like, just as a joke, right? But the reason he got flagged down was not that. It was a clip from his video, which I'd used, which I was responding to in that way, where he sort of sounded a bit like a Nazi. And he got flagged down for that. But I literally wrote to them and said, that video that I took that from is still up on his channel, unflagged. But my video got flagged for it.
It's stupid. That's so stupid.
I just, that's ridiculous, YouTube. You are fucking shit. I could have been spiteful and gone, nah, fuck it, I'm going to flag his video down because it's the same thing. But I'm not going to be like that. Fuck that.
Yeah. Also, it takes a lot of flagging. You know, if you make a complaint, they don't do anything. The only people I've seen have flags on them is like when it's been organized, if I'm honest. People who say this video has a complaint, because it seems to take a certain threshold to be met before they'll do anything. Yeah. You know, so that's why Sargon's got one and you don't. Also because of who gets targeted, but yeah.
Just to complete that, Kraut did actually support me in that strike, just in case.
Yeah, for the record.
Yeah.
He was fine with being called a Nazi, I guess.
Well, no, he really was fine with that, but he didn't think it was worthy of being flagged down. Okay. But some of his fans clearly did. So, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right. So, no Kevin till March. I guess I'll give you time to work on your Descent of Manosphere.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, I suppose. I was going to get one of those a month. I'm still going to stick to that, but you won't see them until March.
So does that mean you're going to have Keck on Cog's channel, or do you guys want me to host you?
I'm going to have, like I said, I'm going to try and get my second channel going.
Oh, okay.
Just do it there.
Okay. Oh, that's right. Yeah. Fair enough. Okay. I'm just trying to be helpful. So, okay. So is there anything else on your stuff that you wanted to discuss?
No, I think we've got narcissism out of the way.
All right. I also think I found the problem, which is what, because I was watching something on my screen, I rerouted the sound, and I think I moved the sound back to my laptop, and I think that's why.
You try and make it sound good, and that's the problem. You care, and you shouldn't.
I do. I really stress out about the audio on this show. I'm so happy we're on Zoom and it's working tonight. Like, the 10 o'clock thing was a good decision. Zoom was a good decision. But let's talk about... speaking of that, so that before we go on to the pre-shoe drama, before the Sargon and shoe drama, this was flagged down. It took him a couple days to organize, and probably Mumsnet or someplace like that. Kevin Logan's name appearing on Mumsnet. Can imagine that.
Well, the first time it happened, my name literally appeared. It was so strange. And I made a joke of it, right? It appeared on some Nazi fucking thing, like 4chan or whatever. And it was like, list of SJWs to go after or something.
Oh, it was first.
Yeah. So I was like, yes, I'm top. I'm number one SJW. Fuck all the others. I'm the best. And I was the only one who got targeted, right? Because they clearly went, well, let's just go after one. And it was the first one, and it was me. So that's for like 3 months. And I got like 4 strikes or something ridiculous. And I managed to get 2 of them removed, and I got 4 strikes within about 3 hours, which is ridiculous. Right, they clearly like targeted thing against loads of videos, and then once I got 2 of them removed, thanks to one of those trusted flagger type people, I mothballed everything. I just went private, and for 3 months it just sat there doing nothing. And so that's basically what I'm going to have to do. But the first strike will run out in March. So
yeah, good. All right. So as you guys know, we have a podcast of the show, which I do like on my lunch hour or breaks or whatever. It's actually not that hard. I download the file on my phone, and then I upload it to Dropbox and I just move it over to Audacity. Wham, bam. Thank you, ma'am. Bob's your uncle. Or your father's brother, as it were. And
you leave Robert alone.
I had already downloaded this. And, the podcast, I would call it a periodic podcast. It's not a weekly podcast. It's kind of a when Christy gets around to it podcast.
That's one of the great euphemistic descriptions.
Periodic.
Yeah, periodic. Yeah, occasional.
Yeah, occasional podcast. And I downloaded the audio, but that particular episode had a lot of show audio issues, and so I'd started to work with the file.
Yeah, I was hosting. Of course, it fucking did.
Yeah. Well, it was a lot of things, and as a consequence, I ran out of time. Like I was like, I'm gonna have to deal with this, next week, and then it got flagged down apparently because Graham can't be criticized, and I was like, oh well. Let me just finish up that podcast. So, in the, I guess, I don't know, 22 hours or whatever.
Well, Christy, did you know that Obama was better at everything?
Than Trump? Yes.
Well, no, it's just one of the hashtag things there.
Oh, okay. Oh, maybe because it's President's Day.
Yeah, which was four holidays crammed into one to fuck the American worker out of 3 holidays.
What?
Wasn't there were 4 presidents' holidays, like individual holidays, like Jefferson Day or whatever, and they crammed them into one and called it President's Day.
Well, I did learn that one of the things that they kind of contribute, like it's a structural thing that they point to in terms of like the decline of the Roman Empire. Not that I'm saying we shouldn't have more holidays. I definitely do. But because every emperor that came along would add his own sort of like personal celebration that would become an annual thing and would carry on after he died. Like a third of the year was festivals by like the 4th century of Rome.
Well, it probably didn't help, but I would suggest it had more to do with corruption and the fact that strong generalship was discouraged.
No, I'm not saying it was. I'm saying it's a structural sort of like societal thing that is maybe not considered, but was brought up, and not a major causal factor. Obviously, poor leadership, but in terms of the society and the productivity of Rome,
Well, that would be mainly the city of Rome.
Yeah.
The actual provinces probably didn't engage in that at all. For the most part, they had their own local bits and bobs. But no, successful generals were a threat to the Caesar, so they were often murdered or taken from command. So you always had inexperienced idiots. Simpletons who could be controlled, but couldn't run an army, so they collapsed.
Okay, so...
it definitely, just to the alt-right, it definitely wasn't decadence.
No, it definitely wasn't decadence. So, am I...
Although they were the most decadent sluts since the fall of Rome. Or was that the Etruscan? I forget who it was. Let's just...
Davis Aureni and his decadent sluts.
David Aureni and the Decadent Sluts is a great band name. If he ever starts a band, he has to call it that.
All right. Yeah, so also I was asked in the chat if I am voting for Bloomberg in the primary. I just haven't...
Yes.
I haven't...
Bloomberg.
Yeah.
Feel the Berg. Feel the Berg.
I have a personal minimum threshold of 5 years continuous membership in the Democratic Party to qualify for me considering people for voting in the primary. So I'll just say it like that. How about?
Feel the Berg. Feel the Berg.
He is at the bottom of my list. Absolutely at the bottom. But I'm voting in Wisconsin, so I want to see where the state of the race is when it comes to my state. So that's another thing. As I said, I'm currently undecided. I know people I don't want to vote for, but I'm currently undecided as to who I will vote in favor of. So I just wanted to address that because
it's been said the king of the SJWs has told you.
Yeah, I've actually tweeted out lots of critical things of Bloomberg and have officially said that even his ads that I've seen that I like, I refuse to retweet because I don't want to promote him. Yeah.
Did you see it? I mean, I don't know who he's got working on his campaign, but obviously he's got more money than sense. I saw a video on Facebook of his, like an advert, and it looked like it'd been made on Windows Movie Maker. And I just thought to myself, you spent $1 billion on this. Give me $100 and I will make you a better video than this.
I don't think he spent $1 billion on that one video.
No, not on that one video, but presumably the team of people, and one of them went, should we throw together a piece of shit on like the world's crappiest movie maker thing, rather than you can get a really passable bit of fucking software for like 40 quid.
I think in
make videos.
Their cases, they are about quantity. I think that's it. They want to put out stuff every day.
I mean, obviously I can't vote, so it doesn't matter. But if I saw a video from a candidate I liked that was that poor, I'd be like, I'm not voting for you. If you can't make a decent video, I'm not trusting you with the cunt. You've got nuclear weapons, you cunt. No.
Of all the things I have concerns about Bloomberg over, that is like so far like his how much money he spends on his digital ads.
I'm not saying it's the top thing, but it's a matter of trust, right? Just as with Trump, before I even knew the man's politics, if you've got that much money and your wig is that bad, you can't be trusted. Your decision making is compromised, is what I'm suggesting.
Right.
So before we even get to the fact that he's also a massive fucking racist and a sexist and all the rest of it, he's also bad at decisions. So I'm not even considering him. Apart from the fact that I'm jokingly going on the Bloomberg train because it's hilarious. Until if he rises enough in the polls and becomes
seriously.
Yeah, if he rises enough in the polls and becomes like a serious threat, then I will stop that joke. But for now, he's far enough away where I'm like, yeah, that's cool. I'm just going to do that joke because it's funny.
See, now they're going to say, oh my gosh, this is the impact that Christy Winters has had on Kevin. He's supporting Michael Bloomberg now.
Well, I did brilliantly. We'll get onto it, but I was straight away. One of the first responses when Shu responded to me, one of her fans called me a shill straight away. I was like, you people are so fucking basic.
You support Bernie.
You people are so basic. Oh my God.
Okay. I didn't know that she responded to you. That's news, but you were getting ahead of ourselves now. Anyway, the audio is available. I tweeted it. That's when you tweet things twice and then you retweet them. I actually did retweet it because I included the...
Just to answer the person in the 2255 AD, which is a vintage year, unless that's not a reference to a year. I don't know. I'm not a Labour member, for what it's worth. No.
Have you ever been a member of the Labour Party?
No, but I've got no problem with them. I'm just not really a party man in that way.
Don't want to pay to be able to vote?
I don't know. I don't
You're
really
happy
care
for them to
that.
sort it out?
Well, I mean, generally speaking, I'm going to get the same person or the same vague set of people. I don't see there's a point in that particularly. I just can't be bothered with it. Like, I don't feel passionately enough that Labour represent who I am enough. Like, I'll vote for them because it's either them or the Tories in the area I live. That's it. I don't feel like they represent me well enough that being a member would be right.
Yeah. And by the way, you can cancel Kevin for ironically supporting Bloomberg because it'll give him a lot of money and attention. So I'm sure you won't.
Yeah, exactly. I'm being silenced. Shut up, rhetoric and discourse. You're silencing me with your cancel culture, SJW wokeness.
I will say on that ad, the one that it's the one about online harassment, right? Is
yeah,
that
the
one
Bernie Bros.
Yeah.
And it looks like a fucking 5-year-old did it, yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't have a problem so much with showing screenshots, especially not on Twitter and Facebook where that ad was targeted, because it's a digital ad. It's never going to go on television, but I will give a critique of it. Here is my major critique.
Go on then.
That. The images all went by too fast. They really lost their impact because, okay, they grayed out or cancel, masked out the names. And if there was more than like one line, it was only on the screen long enough for you to start to read it. So if the point was to show the rapid and consistent nature of these abusive social online interactions, you need to give people time to consume the information. Even if you pause it, there's not enough time it's really hard to catch it all. And I think it loses the impact because you can't see it. So if I were to give a critique of that video, if you're going to say it looked cheap, I'm going to say my critique is more that they lost the impact of their message by their editing technique.
Okay. And again, this is a sidetrack thing, which if this ever becomes a podcast, you won't even know what the person has asked me, but never mind. Anyway, the person is something about the Labour membership fee is only £3, which is like, what, $5 or something. So it's not a lot. But the point isn't the money. When I say it's not worth it, I don't mean it's not worth the financial expense. It's that when you become a member of a thing, you take on a certain other set of baggage with it. Like you could take on a certain political and historic baggage to a thing, in the same way that even if the Tories became really good now, I could never join them because of what they've done in the past, right? What they've represented. Now, that obviously diminishes over time, especially if it changes dramatically, like with the Democratic Party in America, who were very pro-slavery, and then obviously not so much, and there's been a complete flip and reversal. But the point being, the Labour Party don't represent me enough that I want to be that literally associated with it, if that makes sense. And not just that, but I mean, it's relatively recent. We were literally talking about the Iraq War. God, we can't get away from the Iraq War. It was the Labour government that took us into the Iraq War. And I know they've changed since then, but it's too recent for me. I don't want to be a part of that. You do take on a certain baggage with it, both ideological and historical, and I'm not for me. I don't hate them or anything, just not for me.
All right. Okay. Well, I had no idea the conversation was going to go in this many different directions.
Yeah, sorry, but
no, it's fine. Like
people were asking a question.
It's a live show. We do interaction. Well, when you look at the chat, when you acknowledge their existence.
Well, it's only because we've got them on the screen. I wouldn't have them up otherwise. So this is on you.
All right. Yeah. So I retweeted out the link to a Dropbox MP3 copy of it. It's all podcasted up, so it's got the Sargon start and the Creative Commons music that I use, and it's Creative Commons by, which means our attribution license, which means anyone who I'm giving, because I made it, I'm the creator, so I'm licensing it, and I'm saying as long as you mention the show and Kevin and me, you can do whatever you want with it. If you want to cut down bits, if you want to make it into clips, if you want to mix it up and just do highlights or whatever, you're free to copy, reuse, share, publish.
Yeah, just do the bits where I do like silly jokes.
Yeah,
cut out the serious bits where Christy makes good, interesting, worthwhile points. Just me doing knob gags. Simple.
That is the highlight of the show.
Very
ultimately much. That's what very people tune in for. All right. So, my gosh. Okay, we really are taking longer with this. I was thinking this would take 15 minutes, but it's probably been much longer than that now. Anyway.
I've had that.
Yeah, before the show tonight, as I've laughed about on the show in previous episodes, I'd asked June sometime in late January or the first part of February. You said you were going to do that.
You asked June in February.
Yeah.
That's 2 different months.
I'd asked her when she was going to do that video about her public racisms that she mentioned on Vosh's stream, and then she blocked me. But she's been talking about me behind the block, and multiple times I've invited her on the happy hour, and I've tagged you in to confirm that it's okay that she appears, and she continually refuses to talk to my face, but she'll talk behind a block.
Well, no, but she's not going to go on a live stream with anyone who isn't Vosh and won't,
coddle her.
Yeah.
Not actually ask, well, do you feel bad about the people you hurt? Like, how do you think that the impact of you showing that to your audience, like when they defend you on YouTube or defend you on Twitter that your comment wasn't racist, like what would you say to them now?
Well, I would say,
doesn't want to answer that question.
I would say break free persona.
Who is that?
That's now the number 5 trending.
All right. Yeah, I got NASCAR.
I'm just keeping track of the changing number 5 trendings in America.
I don't even notice when it refreshes. All right, so if you guys watch my weekend show, you're welcome to watch my weekend show, and I have one. And on the last one, I talked about the fact that Bernie made a public statement that I was very supportive of. That he kind of.
Is that the one about liking big butts and not lying?
That's also a very popular view.
Yeah. In many respects, he's just. I wish he'd get an original idea. It's because his anaconda doesn't want none unless you've got buns on.
Well, he's been around to see a lot, so sometimes he doesn't remember where he heard something.
Exactly. I mean, Bernie, I will call it a comeback. Shut up.
Right. No, I mean, Bernie said a couple things.
All the old school hip hop references.
he said, Bernie said things, getting back to the show, that were of greater and lesser vagueness and specificity. I think it's important. Like, you'd call out stuff in your fan base when you think they're being sexist or whatever else. You've done that in the past. Or when there was even a hint that your fans were, like, flagging a video down or flagging a Twitter. I don't know. There's something that, like, you were like, don't do this.
Yeah, it was about June. When she and Arnold Skeptic did a response to her Descent of Manosphere, he got flagged down. Now, I don't know if that was by my fans or if it was an automated thing or whatever, but I just went straight out and said, don't fucking flag it. I don't care if they're giving me the worst abuse on earth. Just leave it. It's not worth it,
Mm-hmm. Where was I? I've gotten distracted now. What was I saying?
You were saying something about
Bernie
made a comment you liked.
Yes, exactly. And it was about addressing online abuse, which I do think is important for all candidates to do. And I do think because of the history, it's also important for Bernie to do. But anyway, that's really what it was, more about the situation. It wasn't so much about Bernie as so much as like the online behavior. And in it, I was talking about June and how I don't think she's really left. Now, I'm going to show you the longer clip, and then I'm going to explain to you how she presented it and deceptively kind of edited it and framed it to make it look like I was saying something else.
Here is 19. Hello, I'll read it out. You get Christy. I'm going to read out your super chat, and there's nothing you can do to stop me other than literally muting me because you control the stream.
I do.
Anyway, it says here is 199. Follow Kalan. Don't know who that is. She is cool. Okay.
Thanks, Chris.
I don't know who
Chris
Kalan.
Loss or Chris Loeb. I don't know if that's supposed to be. Don't know. Is that Twitter? You can add without paying. Is it Twitter or YouTube? You should mention that, Chris. So,
Yeah, you should give us a little bit more detail. You've got characters you've not used there, Chris. And really, it's a waste of 199. You made a fool of yourself, but more importantly, you've made a fool of me.
All right, so this audio should work. We should have tested the audio before the show, but we kind of just talked rubbish the whole time. But so we're going to hear, hopefully we'll hear this. Kevin, you can I have to share it with sound now, though. So you're going to get a bit echoey when you talk. Just so you know, we're resharing this with sound. Okay.
Why am I getting echoey?
Well, maybe it'll sort itself out.
How is this going to work if because I need to be able to talk and respond, don't I?
Well, are you hearing yourself now?
I'm not hearing myself now.
All right, let's see.
I don't know what changed.
All right, so the context of this is, I'll just say, I was like doing a live show and responding to somebody in the chat, and okay, I'll just say that and hit play. I don't think Vamp Kitty, she is on the left. Kevin, is that loud, too soft?
That works well for me.
Excellent. Okay, so then I'll start again. I don't think Vamp Kitty, she is on the left. She claims, she has an anti-war position. So she's basically a left, you could see her on that cusp of right-wing populism and left-wing populism. In that what populists have in common is things like they don't want to spend money on wars, maybe for brown people, like they don't want to go overseas. Because white people could use that money here, and I don't June's political ideology seems underdeveloped in terms of a coherence, so I hesitate to speculate. However, she's anti-feminist. She has no commitment that I've seen ever to racial justice or racial equality. She doesn't even have the ability to take on her own mistakes in the past and own them. So how can she be progressive if she never progresses? Is she on the left? Oh, the rig do this. Alt-right and the anti-war, so don't let that be a measure. Yeah, that's true. I mean, there's a whole thing about I don't want to spend money fighting brown people because they're brown, and that race is part of it. Like, I don't want to go create democracy in other parts of the world where people aren't white. Okay, so did you hear the hell? Like, I was responding to the question about someone talking about being all right, and their position was like, oh, I don't want to spend money on not white people. I don't want to spread democracy where there's not white people. Did you got that?
Well, yeah, okay. But okay, so were you saying that those wars were meant to create democracy?
No, I was saying that in the case of, so the person was saying alt-right also oppose foreign wars, and I was restating my position that they're going to oppose spending money on brown people when instead they could, if they wanted to help democracy, they could help white people.
Right, okay. Because I was you saying that you weren't trying to say that those foreign wars were about democracy, which is, okay.
No, it was about race.
Yeah.
Which is why I talk about brown people and white people. So, but thank you for asking, because that was the framing of it, was about the alt-right also being anti-war.
We'll get onto it in a moment. But when I was defending you, I was saying, well, she's not trying to say they were about democracy.
No.
Which is the point. But anyway, yeah.
It was more like they're going to spend money on foreign military stuff. They're going to help it with white people. That was my point. They're not going to. That was the anti-war populist from a sort of a white supremacist perspective, and that was what the question was asking about. They've
literally done this, haven't they? You've seen supposedly anti-immigration people in both America and Australia. They had like a senator literally said this, that the white South African farmers who are supposedly being genocided. They're not, but whatever. Those people should be allowed into the country as a matter of priority. So they're not anti-immigration; they're anti-non-white immigration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in the same way, this person was talking about specifically the alt-right and their opposition to foreign wars.
Yeah.
Right. So June, from behind a block, frames this as "it gets worse," and then she writes, "create democracy." And let's see how much of that clip she includes. So she's framed it as, "This is me saying that wars create democracies," or something. Alt-right and the anti-war, so don't let that be a measure. Yeah, that's true. I mean, there's a whole thing about I don't want to spend money fighting brown people because they're brown, and that race is part of it. Like, I don't want to go create democracy in other parts of the world. Alt-right and the anti... That's it.
Yeah. So that's clearly enormously deceptive, but whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, she's lying. She's literally, like, deceptively editing that and not even providing a link to the full video and a timestamp. So yeah. June's trash. We know this. And yeah, she does this from behind a block.
Yeah.
So I put out the full video and wrote, "For those who were taken in by Chew-on-Head deceptively editing a clip and circulating it, here's the relevant sections. For the record, I oppose imperialist wars. June would know if she'd stop posting about me from behind a block and accept my invite to appear on the happy hour."
Yeah.
So,
I think so. I think that's fair.
Yeah. So you tweeted at her?
I did indeed. Does that mean I have to share now?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can stop sharing.
Oh God, that means I'm going to have to like.
Okay, well, you load it up first. Is there any backstory?
No, it's fine. It's just I don't like having to do anything.
Okay. Well, let me get.
Well, I'm just saying I'm not blocked, so clearly
yeah.
better. That's how it works.
Just don't ask her about her racism video and when that's coming out, because.
Well, Christy, you haven't stopped sharing because I've literally got a message now saying you cannot share screen share.
I just did.
Participant is sharing.
Go ahead.
Outrageous.
Yeah.
Share.
All
there
right.
we go. Can you now see this shit?
Yeah.
Awesome. So this was directly. Oh, hang on. There we go. So those are the two thingamajigs. It gets worse. Create democracy. To which I just responded with, "Why are you deceptively editing videos now, June? That's really poor form." Because I am decidedly English about this affair. I have to say that's poor form, old chap. Poor
yes.
form. Yeah. And now there's a jumble of lots of nonsense from various people. So I'll try and pick out the bits that she said,
okay,
rather than fucking fans like dogpiling and shit. Right. So, but hang on. Right, then there's this bit. Right. So, come on now. Come on, computer. We can do this. I don't believe in you, but whatever. Anyway, so some fucking idiot responds, and I said she was describing the alt-right/new right's position, right? So you weren't saying it's about democracy,
yeah,
right? So, but she clearly then June, such a dishonest, right? But even though I've clearly outlined there,
yeah,
she's describing somebody else's viewpoint on this. She's not saying she believes X, right? June says, "No shit. Nobody here thinks Christy is saying she's the one that wants to save money to, quote, help white people, unquote. It's the ongoing implication that we are overseas to help brown people and create democracy that we're laughing at," which, again, is not what you were saying.
No, June. Do you listen with your ears, or do you just anticipate what you think I'm going to say?
Well, you're a shill, Christy.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Yeah, if I'm not the one with the racist comments. Oh, I found one. Oh, she also, I was going through some, looking for a different picture, and I found something about someone was talking about the Harambe jokes being offensive, and she tweeted out, "Oh, the meme police have arrived." That's going in the video.
Also, have we noticed brainworms is a thing?
Yeah, she says that all the time.
So basic, all of them. Yeah. All of them. Anyway, so this fucking dickhead, it was like the original poster that I saw, like tweeting this out, says says something about that's irrelevant. The clip is crazy because it suggests that US imperialist wars are about spreading democracy. Pure neocon fever dream.
This guy's been stalking me since the early 2000s, and I'm not even joking. He's obsessed. Like, he goes on different groups to complain about me. She's basically listening to a stalker.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. Bear that in mind when we get to it in a second. But you can respond directly to June. Seems though you're blocked, but I will be the bearer of messages. She says about you, right? She's very blatantly mocking, quote, the alt-right, unquote, by saying it's bad to not want to create democracy.
June, again, you see, you don't listen to what I say about your responsibility as a creator to model your apparently newfound regret about your racist past and not being racist actively and working for racial justice. You actually have to misrepresent me here too. I don't know if it's like a block because she's so emotional, she can't process stuff, or she just, again, I'm speculating, but she really just purposely seems to misconstrue my points.
Yeah.
From behind a block.
Well, I did ask her about the block. Because, I think that's fair. Anyway.
So June, out of nowhere, like, I hadn't talked about June forever. And she decides to dig out an old video of mine and launch a harassment campaign against me. But I'm the one who's obsessed with her. No, June. You're the one who started this. Well, you got my attention. Now you have it. And I have a question for you. When is that apology for your past racism video coming out on your main channel? It's the same question I've had for you for months, and until you make it, it's the same one I'm going to have for you. That's just how it works.
Well, I asked June. I said no, she really wasn't. Basically saying that what June was saying was a lot of shit, which we've already discussed. I then said, plus, why are you bitching about her from behind a block? That's technically that's poor on my behalf. It should be a question mark at the end there.
Yeah.
Because I am asking a question. Even though it's sort of rhetorical, it is still a question. So, slap on the wrist for Kev. War Corps, you don't get another, okay?
You don't get a pass.
Karma. Anyway. June says, yes, she was. And you say, you bend over backwards to defend. I do. I'm so flexible. Come on.
We've seen your violent, sexy dancing. Well, we heard it anyway.
Exactly. You did. Well, anyone who claims they've seen it clearly didn't see it because they'd be blinded by who.
Kevin's not bending over for me. He's just violent, sexy dancing.
Exactly.
He's just that limber.
The sexiest spud you've ever seen.
I mean, he's holding on to the pole, but he's definitely doing the, his head's almost touching the ground.
Yeah, Mateusz, the Polish guy, yeah.
He's got your arm.
Dear life, I can't let him go. He's a gem.
He's got your beer, too.
Yeah, I want it back. Right, so, Jesus Christ, we got through 2 sentences of the 3. Although, again, on her part, no full stop at the end of the sentence. Poor. And no capitalisation. This is shoddy. Anyway. It says, and you had made a first point. But anyway, and because she's unhealthily obsessed with me. And that sentence doesn't stop. It goes off into the ether. There's no period at the end of that at all.
It's an infinite sentence.
It is. Anyway, so you're unhealthily obsessed with her, Krista.
She's mentioned me twice in the last 2 days, one on the Sargon thing and tweeting. Okay.
Well, I did say you're the one tweeting out videos of her. Just saying. And she says about a whole stream she's made about me. But the point was, and I'm not going to go through the entire fucking thing because, there was some back and forths. But I was basically saying you're the one that's blocked her because she's obsessed with this. So she's like some obsessive stalkery person you're trying to get away from. And yet you're tweeting out videos about them. Why would you be taunting an obsessive, or are you just talking shit? She didn't respond to that one. Anyway, or at least she didn't at the time we started this broadcast. She may have done. I don't know.
All right.
There was some other thing as well. I want to get to the guy calling me a shill. Or did I block that one? I can't even remember. Anyway, yeah, but there's a guy who literally called me a shill straight away. These people are basic as fuck. Man.
Yeah. God. I mean, it's getting as old as the whole boomer meme is already old. Like, at this point, I just roll my eyes. Unless it's very judiciously used or ironically used.
Yeah. Yeah, and and that's some other stuff about the flagging. Anyway, so yeah, that's
Okay.
that's yeah. So it's the meme thing is interesting. That's why the Kekistan thing became so cringe. Because like fucking years after it had become like boring and stale, people were still like, "Oh, I am Kekistan." No, you're a prick. Get up.
And then also apparently, I'm just going to air all my Twitter drama out because why not? I got this tweet. Now I like muted Claudia ages. Actually, I blocked her for the longest time.
Hang on, you need to share, Christy.
Oh, sorry. Yep, I've got to share. All right. Hopefully, if you didn't have echo before, the sound has sorted itself out. So I'm going to share with sound, so I don't have to think about it later.
Well, let's hope.
All right.
Yes, that seems to work.
All right. So I just muted her because I honestly I don't have time for Claudia. She's drama. She's drama and trouble that I don't want to deal with in my life, which is why I muted her. And I get this message. Is that why Claudia Brown is talking about you wanting to drone strike brown people?
Oh, wow.
Claudia, take my name out of your mouth forever. Mute me. Do me the favor of never talking about me the way I don't talk about you. So be it. She's just standing shoe. She's just like a shoe lackey, like she's always been. For years anyway. All right. So that was the end of it.
That's So hang on. So what's that based on? If you disagree with Shu, you want to drone strike brown people.
Oh, who knows? I mean, honestly, I didn't. I
because I have seen. Unfortunately, I have seen that from some of the hardline Bernie people of like, unless you're absolutely fully behind everything, then you clearly are against everything.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to look for anything because I know for a fact you've never actually said you want to drone strike brown.
No, of course not. No, of course not. I mean, we've done all of these shows. I beg anyone to go back. Please, watch all the shows. It'll on my channel anyway be monetized.
Oh no, there was that happy hour. Let's celebrate the drone striking of brown people episode. Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, you said that, not me.
I can't. Oh God, I wonder why that one didn't get flagged down. YouTube.
Yeah, because it didn't. Because it never happened. So, that's kind of funny that she said, she's obsessed with me. I just people keep telling me that she's left and that she's a better left than I am because she has a racist past and is anti-feminist.
Hang on. Oh, so there's a prick in the chat now. Hello, Christian. I'm feeding the troll. Apparently, you said, this guy, it's been deleted. Objectively subjective. You were too quick on the draw there, my friend.
Let's ask questions. Let's clear this up because apparently
Anyway, they would say there's something along the lines. I don't know the exact wording off the top of my head now. And the Orions put them in a 300-second timeout. Oh my God. It's an absolute fucking devastation. Christian Smith's got no comeback. Anyway, it says, June's worker bees are swarming. Not a surprise. Anyway, so that Christian prick was going to... No, and again, the name of the person. I'm not suggesting that's their religion or anything. Anyway. They suggested that you had said that being anti-war was racist.
No, if you listen to the clip, especially the longer one in context, I'm talking about the fact that the alt-right have their anti-war position is based in their white supremacy.
Yeah, which is sort of true of virtually everything they believe.
Yeah. Apparently the definition of establishment as well.
Yeah.
Because...
I've literally seen some of them say, try to use anti-immigrant arguments in favor of like green policies.
Wait. Someone is saying that I said it was racist to be anti-war? What?
That's what that Christian guy said. He was claiming you had said that being anti-war was racist.
I am anti-war. The first time I ever skipped school was to do get the U.S. out of Central America protest. I opposed the Iraq War when it was unpopular to oppose the Iraq War.
You were definitely holding a sign saying let's just drone strike some brown people instead, weren't you? I remember it well. Yeah.
The thing is that international policy, if I'm going to talk about it, I have to know what I'm talking about. And I know it's easier reflexively just to talk about things. So I tend to not talk about, I tend to focus on domestic policy. It doesn't mean I don't have opinions on foreign policy. And I don't think we should be drone striking.
If you're only going to talk about stuff you know about, the internet is not for you.
Yes.
Okay? The internet is not the place for you. Go to a proper actual
Yeah.
fucking some actual worthwhile place, because the internet is for idiots ranting about shit they don't understand.
Yeah, so because otherwise, a big
Like you.
YouTuber, will listen to a guy who's a stalker, who's actually like had other people help you block him and stay away from him. But yeah, if you're gonna promote that, that's no. Listen to what I say. I'm right here. You can ask me. So no, I'm not establishment. I don't even know, like, technically what that means to any one person.
The Jews. It's almost certainly a thing about
Here's
the
what
Jews.
Here's what I'm in favor of. I'm in favor of electing Democrats, people who can get elected in districts that are deep blue and purple, and sometimes even tinged red if we get the right candidate, and having the Congress and the White House, and sorting out the judge situation that Trump has screwed up. And I think we need a broad range of Democrats from across the country, because there are a broad range of Democrats that vote. And so I want a party that represents everyone from AOC to, Joe Manchin pisses me off, but I'd rather have a Dem in that seat than a Republican. So I don't know if that makes me, but that's where I am. I like winning.
What I want is
having
I want 100 Michael Bloombergs in the Senate.
Stop being my shield, Kevin. Stop playing.
No, I'm not your shield. I'm Michael Bloomberg's shield. I will protect him from that slings and arrows.
Oh, he does not
and
deserve
me and
it.
him will rise to power, and then you'll be sorry, because we'll be shit, because he is shit. I wonder if he can stop and frisk entire nations, because I imagine that would be his foreign policy. I mean, the United Nations is going to take on a very different safety check regime, I imagine. Oi, Ghana, get over here. You look suspicious. Anyway.
All right. This is going to be a long show. I've just realized. All right. We're done with this because we have to get on way, way, way too late to...
We're going to look at the politics of Demolition Man.
Oh, I got it. It's Daily, Macad Daily, isn't it?
No, let's look at the politics of Demolition Man.
You can watch that on your own.
That looks like a really worthwhile endeavor, Carl, you fucking idiot.
I'm not giving him his any more views. All right, so...
Hang on, which one are we looking at? Bernie Sanders is leading a dangerous movement, or Bernie's revolution has become a cult?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the exciting part of the show. We get two Sargons videos.
I mean, I haven't seen his Rage Against the Machine video, but if he's talking about the ticket prices, I can't help but agree.
Yeah, I think it was because...
it can't be, let's do Socialist Revolution, $350 tickets. Fuck you. All right, I mean, just fuck you. I love the band, I love the music, but that's obscene.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right. I'm not going to speculate on that. I'm trying to stay focused. Here is what you guys came for. The Sargon shoe drama. Not the Christie shoe drama. That's a sideshow. That's a warm-up act. This is the interesting one. All right. So first, Kevin, before we watch anything by Sargon, take us back to circa 2015, 2016. I know you had several conversations with Carl before and after the election. Like, not that you were on there all the time, but you talked to him more than I did, at least. Yeah. And you guys talked about Trump and Bernie. And do you remember?
I literally did a conversation. Oh yeah, we had a hangout with him the day after the election, in fact. Yeah.
And do you remember that he, I think with you, was very hesitant or even denied supporting Trump, and that he was open to Bernie, and then 20.
Oh, so we're going way back. We're going like early 2016. Okay, yeah. Yeah, he claimed that he'd supported Bernie initially, and this was his thing. I can't be right wing. I supported Bernie.
Yeah, this is his. I'm on the left, criticizing the left from within con,
which he's now basically given up. I think. Although he'll still say I'm a classical liberal, because he doesn't understand again when a meme A is dead and B has become self-defeating. But whatever. He can't understand very basic things like reading beyond a headline. So let's not pressure him too much with intellectual pursuits. But. So he's basically, for the most part, given up the grift of I'm on the left complaining about the left. He's more latter day Dave Rubin than than middle period Dave Rubin. As I think historians will undoubtedly come to call that.
That's perfect.
Yeah. So so that's basically where he's at now, where he's the left have become terrible. I used to be left, blah 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 blah, is his new, slight different take on the matter.
His whole, I'm for, Bernie, and because he's against the banks, or not the banks, the corporations and crony capitalism and all that. It was why he got so upset at the Women's March tweet.
Fuck you. Fuck you, Bernie. Fuck you, Bernie.
Yeah. That was the one.
Which is such a rational reaction to a tweet, to start punching the desk. This man is a parent. I mean, it might not actually be his, but
the shade of it all.
Just saying. No, I don't know, of course not. But he has parental control over young minds. That's slightly terrifying because I'm going to have to live in the same country as those little creatures. So, anyway,
all right. So
he's an idiot, but basically he's an idiot, and he's now going, "Oh, Bernie's terrible," even though Bernie hasn't changed in those 4 years. Yeah. As he hadn't for the previous 40 fucking years. Yep.
Bernie has been Bernie. Bernie's not changed. All right, so I found out about this because my name comes up. By the way,
can I just say, isn't necessarily, I think we made this point when the whole, what's his fucking name? Joe Rogan thing happened, that just being consistent in of itself isn't necessarily great. I don't know if I made the exact analogy, but if Abraham Lincoln had never changed his mind, he never would have freed a slave.
Or Obama, publicly.
Obama was never a slave, Christy.
No, on marriage equality.
Gays aren't slaves either, Christy. You're outrageous. You should just go back to talking about bombing brown people. That was less offensive.
Oh, God. Kevin's going to be clipped all over the place.
Oh, please do. You've got me saying all kinds of things. I mean, you can't look any sillier than I've made myself look by saying, "Oh, Jordan Owen, why do you hurt me so good?" and rubbing my nipples. You can't make me look any more ridiculous. Go for it. Have at it. Anyway, what was I going to say? Yes, so basically, the politicians being malleable to change when the situation changes itself is a good thing. And I don't think that's necessarily entirely beyond Bernie. I think his attitude towards gun rights and what do you call it, gun control legislation and stuff has evolved over time. So I think there is changeability within that, and I think he's going to have to be more practical if he actually did get into office. But generally speaking, I think his principles have been generally fairly righteous throughout most of it. But whatever, just a small caveat, though,
Yep. So I found out about this because this morning when I was checking my Twitter messages, V had messaged me that Sargon I had been name dropped in a Sargon video.
Hang on. Who?
V?
Who's that? Sorry?
Yeah, your milk-fed friend.
Oh, that lad. Oh,
yes.
How is it? How is it? Is he still weird? Really weird?
V, yeah. I put him on mute for a week, to be honest. So I didn't
notice. I bet he messaged you a dozen times.
He did actually, yeah.
Oh God.
He just there are times I just get fed up, and I don't know if he's baiting me or whatever, but I just walk away. So I just muted him for a week. He's
like he's like a little yappy chihuahua.
And he
just doesn't stop. He's relentless, and it doesn't matter how many times you tap him on the snoot, he'll just keep going. He doesn't care. And he's oblivious. He's fucking oblivious.
He did say, you can take this about, sincerely or not, that he tweets me a lot or messages me a lot about the coronavirus and the outbreaks and stuff because it's something he's keeping an eye on. And he's telling me go and get hand sanitizers and make sure that you get vitamin C and cold stuff.
Fucking mental case.
And I was like, V, I'm really not worried about it.
You've got a Romanian mentalist on the internet messaging an American in Germany worried that you might get the coronavirus. It's a mental case. It's amazing.
Well, and then he was saying, it's not really always the disease that necessarily kills you. It's the shortages of the supplies when a lot of people get sick at once or people start hoarding things. And I was like, well, V, I want to just, thank you for being so concerned about my well-being. And he's like, Christy, you're one of the only liberals who will talk to me.
That's genius. Why does people on the internet, outside of very close friends, like on the internet, like me and Christy, I mean, I'm not saying I want anyone to get coronavirus, but there's nothing I can do. I don't care. I can't force people to take preventative measures or whatever. I have no control over any of it, so I don't worry about it.
I
Or at least I try not to. Whereas V's messaging random people saying, "Have you had preventative measures for the coronavirus?"
Well, to be fair, like I said, I think he's a slight vested interest in that. I talk to him so occasionally, and I don't mute him for a week at a time because I get.
You're one of the few people on either side. Let's be honest, there are not many writers who want to talk to him either. They will actually talk to him.
Yeah, so I took it as like a
but
sincere.
now I've criticised him. Presumably, I'm going to get a mutton chops or something.
Yeah, probably right in the mutton chops. So I was like, "What are you talking about?" Sargon. I got brought up in a Sargon video, and I went to the link that he sent me, and it's actually Sargon responding to Shu, and it's not Sargon who mentions me. It's Shu brings up my name out of nowhere. So this whole thing about I'm the one who's obsessed with her. So she had to block me, but she's like tweeting about me daily.
She's even got a nickname for you.
Yeah, that's also Karen Summers. Is that the one? Oh, two of them. And
she's got two. She's got Karen Summers. Yeah. And
so original.
Well, they pronounce it in America wine ant, but that would be a small little insect.
Yeah,
it's wine ant, please. Oh. I mean, what I'll do, America, I'll give you this trade. You can say ant for aunt. If you sort out the Kansas, Arkansas nonsense.
That's the barter? That's the deal?
Yeah, that's the deal. Okay.
All right, so I watched that first, but I didn't have the context because Shu was actually responding to Sargon and then dropped my name in it. You haven't seen these, Kevin, so we're going to watch them.
We're going to watch both.
Bernie Sanders.
Oh, good damn, Carl, that was loud for me.
This could take forever.
Yeah, you're going to have to... Okay, so we're going to do this in bits because he's just so wrong. All right, I'm just going to tell you my take on this.
Well, that's what I mean. If we do 2 videos, I mean, it's Monday, so we've got all week, but it might take more than that. It might.
But this is ridiculous. So I'm just going to go on here.
Why is it advertising your own stream to you? Why do you, YouTube, you are so shit. Sorry, go on.
Okay. Oh, yeah, they're at the bottom.
I always get that whenever I'm streaming, when I used to be able to stream on my fucking channel, it's always like tells me, the stream's going.
Yeah.
But I'm doing a stream. I don't fucking care. What do you?
All right. This is going to sound super, super out of context now, but stick with me. Well, that too, but fuck you. Point 2. Secondly. So my position on June's leftism is that I don't buy it. And I, in part, don't buy it. For many reasons, but let's just go with the top 2.
I am definitely going to have to interrupt you just to appreciate the beautiful piece of absolutely reckless abandon banhammer use objectively in the chat there. Kudos.
Yeah, you get a timeout, and that's your warning for people. So generally, it's not
because I mean it's not my channel, but anyone who is a thing on my administrator, whatever what are they called? The blue fucking people.
Hammers. Or no, the wrenches. The mods.
Wrenches. If you're a wrench on my channel, please just block anyone. I don't care. Go mental with it. I encourage, frankly, over the top, reckless use of banhammering.
Yeah. On my channel, I prefer... Well, what people are doing, which is delete the offending tweet because it shows you what you've done wrong, and then you get put on a timeout because it's like slamming the door in your face, and you have a timeout to think about what you did, and you want to come back and participate without doing things like you just did. That's fine. If you do it again, now you know what crosses the line.
My channel, it's no second chances. Just get rid of them.
Although, of course, they get confused sometimes if there's a lot of trolls, and they might ban people right away. But anyway, that's, again, distraction. So the 2 reasons I cite as June's progressivism being fake is that she's completely anti-feminist. She claims she's egalitarian, but she doesn't. Let's face it, that's a label you use when you want to bash feminism and then want to take credit for all the stuff that feminism has done that you like. And she's got so many, I forgot, actually, people had sent things she'd said, and I'd saved them because I'm making this video, and she said so many racist things. I tend to focus on the video because it's good on Twitter, and it's so blatant. And at this point, she doesn't even deny that it's racist, and the thing is that for years, her fans have defended that comment as not racist, and they believe that. It had entire, young people come through. Yeah, go ahead.
Weirdest thing, the person was claiming to be black. I don't know if they are necessarily or not, but I can only assume that they were, right? So I had a black person who was a June stan in my comments arguing that her calling a black person gorilla, which apparently she did, no, apparently she did to, what's her name, Christy? You're going to have to help me.
Oh, Leslie Jones.
Leslie Jones, the actress. That was fine, but you apparently didn't put enough focus on the role of black people in the civil rights movement when you made the comment about Democrats passing legislation.
Ooh.
So you were dismissing them, and therefore that was more racist.
But there weren't black people in Congress to pass it because of racism, and they were talking about it because of the activism.
I tried to make the point that you were just basically saying, essentially, she wasn't even mentioning the initial stages of it. She was just saying in terms of legislation, the Democrats had to do the thing.
Yeah, Republicans didn't.
Yeah, but apparently that's more racist than calling a black person a gorilla. Now, that's what makes me think I'm not entirely sure this person is actually black. That sounds like some white people bullshit to me. Yeah. But there are some strange black people too. So I don't know.
Well, in terms of strange takes.
Because that's some proper like white people. Check yourselves.
And I do think if you're talking about a Twitter account, especially with very few followers and recently created, and an egg or a pig, some sort of drawing rather than a real person, then yeah. So but that okay. They said that, we've refuted it. Happy to correct the record. And
also, just objectively subjective in the chat says chickens with shoes are happy. Which there was actually that they used to do that for chickens and turkeys that were being essentially herded to market before they had trucks and shit. They used to put small amounts of tar on the underside of their feet so they wouldn't bleed and damage their feet. So they did used to make little shoes for them out of tar. Well, that's a thing that farmers used to do. Anyway.
Okay. Random trivia happy hour. It feels very pub-like in here tonight.
Well, do you remember when we used to do that? We used to do trivia.
Yeah, for like a couple of weeks, and then I got tired of doing homework before the show.
I think I did one question once.
Yeah.
Question.
Yeah, yes, you always did sports-related question.
No, I did one about states.
About capitals?
State capitals, yeah. Do you remember
that? Yeah. You were asking. I don't remember the wording of the question.
There's only one state capital in the top 10 largest US cities or something, and it was Phoenix, Arizona.
Oh. I don't really think about Arizona that often, if I'm honest.
No one does. Even people in Arizona don't care.
All right, so getting back to the video. Gosh, we are just like all over the place tonight. All right, so my point was about that. June not only said something racist, she's let her fans defend her. And she only went on Vosh's channel, and only those people who heard about it and went over and watched that amount of it. And even, and she didn't even apologize. She didn't say, I feel terrible about this and I realize now and I just want to acknowledge all the pain. Nothing like that.
Oh, that was another one. I had someone claiming that she'd apologized for it.
Yeah, that's another myth.
And I said, where? And they said, oh, ask this other person. They said it. You don't even know.
No,
No. I'm not going on a wild goose chase asking random fucking June stands. If she wants to apologize, actually apologize where people can see it.
Yeah. And if you don't know, it like links or it didn't happen. Like that's how it goes.
Well, yeah, but again, this is the internet, Christy. Are you expecting evidence of things happening before you take them on just face value? No. No.
Yeah, I like listening to my stalker. All right. To be honest, I've blocked him everywhere, so he hasn't bothered me. But clearly, he's still staying on top of my stuff and reporting to June on me, which is just
staying on top of your house, stalking you like a list.
Probably watching this show right now, offended that I called him a stalker.
Actually, do they have houses in Germany? I don't know. They have like tenements and shit.
Yeah, just little huts, really. Yeah, with common bathrooms and a public shower. No, I said right. Anyway,
what's Kino? Kino
cinema.
Oh, okay.
Ich gehe ins Kino. I'm going to the cinema.
No, so I'm not cinema apparently.
You're. Oh, not Kino, Kev. Yeah, you're not cinnamon, but it's cinema. Cinnamon.
Well, I am cinnamon. I am cinnamon.
But that's zimt.
As in
no zimt. Not the P. Zimt. I can't say it. Anyway. why were you off my bad onto my bad German? All right, let's go back. So the whole point of
Badger man.
my
What?
critique, I'm not listening to you, but the point of my critique was that June has a duty as a creator, since she put out racist content, to now, as a progressive, model a progressive value and go on her main channel and acknowledge her prior racism, go the process she went through, what she learned, what she thinks of what she said now, and the views of people who defended her, and her what she would say to them now, and also what her policy will be like going when she sees racist comments in her feed from now on, or from her fans. That's what I'm looking for.
But just we'll get on to Carl now, right? It says I love the fact that the thing on the screen there is Bernie Sanders says sexist comments aren't cool, and the title of this is he's leading a dangerous movement. So that's dangerous. Even though below that, Carl has written "Service defends citizenship," which is literally in that book the slogan of a fascist state.
Because he's fascist.
Yeah, and interestingly, considering they're against globalism, it's a one-world fascist state.
He should read.
He should, or at least,
and not just look.
Yeah, exactly. You need to actually, when you look at the ink on the page, Carl, do you actually take in the meaning of the things that those symbols actually put together in those combinations mean? Because I don't think you do.
I think they have a Sparks notes, like summaries of books. Maybe you could get him the Sparks notes of Starship Troopers.
Or a lobotomy. What else?
All right. Anyway, so, and what's going to happen now? Carl is just so hypocritical, and he just the way that he's blind to the parallels that are more direct with Trump. And okay, so Kevin's going to blow up a lot, but I just want to say here that what Carl says about Bernie is nothing like what I'm saying about Shu. Again, that won't make sense now, but it will in the next video.
Okay, yeah, but just before we get going, brilliant piece of bants in the chat.
All right.
So, someone asked, "What do you all think of Bunty King?" And Orion responded, "Not as good as Burger King," which is true.
Yeah,
that is. I mean, that is true. That's a nice zinger, and a zinger, of course, is a burger. But it's also true.
And objectively subjective says Dairy Queen is better than Bunty King.
Yeah.
Have you been to a Dairy Queen? You've never been to a Dairy Queen.
No, but I've licked ice cream off female nipples. Does that count?
We'll have to go to the judges in the chat. But I want to tell you, can I just tell you how American Dairy Queen is? Describe this to you.
Is it inbred?
No. Okay, so Dairy Queen is essentially, it's kind of like a burger place, but their main emphasis is ice cream. They do all kinds of malts and shakes, and they put stuff in your ice cream, and they have vanilla and toppings, and they just take ice cream very seriously. Hence, Dairy Queen. But another thing you can get at Dairy Queen is they have ice cream cakes, as in 2-layer round ice cream cakes decorated with frosting.
Wow. I wonder why your country has such a massive obesity problem.
Because we're tempted by things like this all the time.
Pancakes and ice cream and syrup for breakfast.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know for a fact I would be heavier if I'd stayed in the States for the last 12 years.
I'd be dead. I would have died. I would have gotten some sort of internal cholesterol fucking traffic jam situation in my arteries and died.
And the thing is, like, a lot of the food in Germany tastes better, fresher here, like the bread especially. But the thing is, American food hits that endorphin, that rush in your brain. Like it's
the MSG.
Yeah, I think it's all of it. Anyway, all right. No, we have to get on to Carl, because otherwise we're going to be here till midnight.
We have to. It's essential we listen to this fucking idiot.
Okay, so you're going to rant a lot, but you have to, like, can we do it? Can you take notes?
Oh, gee. Yeah, okay. I'll get my notepad up. Carl, you're not even worth me opening a fucking Word document. You get a notepad.
Oh, man. heralded ice cream cake first? I didn't know that. But I always had ice cream cake for my birthday while Kevin gets the notepad up. Oh, it was the best because they have this middle layer between the vanilla and the chocolate, two layers.
God damn it.
That's just like this dark chocolate crumble crunchy thing. And it's, oh.
No, that's also awesome.
What?
Finishing this show before midnight.
Okay, you got your notepad up?
Yeah.
All right, if it's too loud.
You click on it and it's up.
Okay.
What she said.
Has long had a problem with his own supporters. This is from back in 2016 when his Bernie bros were being sexist towards Hillary Clinton. And Bernie was forced to denounce them and say he has no tolerance for this kind of behavior, which is good.
Anyone want to guess that if we went back in the vault, Carl would have criticized Bernie for this back in 2015?
I made the note. When I brought up Tommy Robinson's fans being garbage, he was like, "Oh, you can't hold his fans against him."
Oh, it gets better. The hypocrisy gets deeper. The bullshit gets higher and deeper around here. Okay, hitting play.
That's good. Why is it your supporters doing this, Bernie? And then why at the Nevada convention were your supporters throwing chairs and threatening the state party leader?
This article is more than 3 years old. It says right on the top of it. I'm pretty sure that's The Guardian.
And again, I have to go back to Tommy Robinson. Carl, you've metaphorically sucked the dick of a man who led an army of violent urban ramblers to destroy every town centre up and down the country for years. So you can fuck off.
Yeah. Pretty much. So yeah, I don't know why Carl is like dragging up stuff from 3 years ago, if I'm honest. Because he's not saying it's 3 years ago, even though it says it on the article, but he's not mentioning that,
He hasn't read to the date. Don't be silly.
He just found it and put it online. Okay, hitting play.
No, V found it for him.
About various policy positions they did or didn't hold. And it's interesting how he condemns violence, obviously, but he didn't apologise for it. He's not going to apologise for this. Weird, isn't it? And then you've got Steve Scalise, who got shot by a Bernie bro, which made his support for the Second Amendment stronger because...
I don't remember that being the case. I thought they were saying he was Antifa or something at the time.
Oh, no, that's all the same, isn't it? When you're on the left, it really matters whether you're an anarcho-primitivist capitalist or an alt-right ethno-national. That really matters. That definition really matters. Whereas everyone from the centre to that is just the left.
Yeah, yes.
So you can call them whatever you like. They're all communists and liberals and socialists. I fucking literally saw. So, what's his fucking name? Stephen Crowder said that Hitler was a liberal socialist. What the fuck does that mean, you cunt?
Yeah.
Seriously, what does that mean?
Based on what policies?
The ones where the liberal socialisms.
Yeah, the book burning. So liberal. Didn't they make?
And
Yeah, they
there
made
were socialist
unions
books
illegal.
that were being burned.
Yeah, and then
There was a socialist fire.
They outlawed all unions except for Nazi unions, which were basically just party instruments, right?
And put everyone on the left in prison camps and killed them.
Carl could have taken this moment to actually put information up about the shooter to substantiate his accusation.
Also, motherfucker,
But he didn't.
if he's going to go on about violence, why not? Are you going to mention the violence that the rioters done? Shooting up synagogues and mosques and
Kevin,
schools?
no, don't go too early. You gotta hold that one back.
Too late. Too late.
Just hold
Give it
it.
5 minutes. I'll calm down. We'll try again.
All right, but he didn't. Like, I don't remember. I remember that guy said anyway. Anyway, just get down with the video because I don't remember all the details of that shooting. So I'm not going to continue to talk about something I don't know enough about.
Because, as he says, he was saved by people with guns. It's really interesting how this is getting quite serious.
All right, can we just recall, I'm just going to put in everyone's mind that Trump talked about Schiff not getting what's coming to him yet. And
said he wanted to execute the fucking whistleblower.
Yeah, and then a guy was arrested for making threats to Adam Schiff, and when they went to his house, he had a bunch of guns, and he said that he had made the threats because of what he saw on Fox News, which is what the president had said. Okay? That's a real thing that happened in the news. I know there's a lot going on, but if you're on Twitter obsessively like me and you follow a bunch of news journalists...
I've just read the title of the next... Oh, God.
Yep. Okay.
Well, let him say it.
Yep, go ahead. All right, here we go.
And then we go to say the end of last year, August last year, where his supporters were doxing critics on Twitter. And I mean, you would think this would be a concern up until this point. There's been violence generated by Bernie and his campaign. There has been.
No, there hasn't. His campaign isn't generated violence, Carl. You're
No.
full of crap.
And also, you don't get to accuse anyone else of being bad for doxing. You've doxed so many people, including someone who wasn't even a critic, just happened to be working in a store where she was asked to wear a shirt with the word feminist on it.
Yep. So
So you
shut
can
your pie
fuck-
hole.
You are leading a dangerous movement, then are
Yeah.
you not?
Yep. Oh, good. Okay. Hitting play.
Actual like harassment. A guy got shot. A public official got shot, and now
Oh, and remember the Trump guy who sent laced letters? Who was had a van that was covered in Trump stuff?
Yeah.
And it was, yeah.
But no, that was the deep state. Who the fuck is calling themselves Rory Cats?
Oh, yeah, there was someone in the chat from Rory Cats from last
Oh.
time.
Hello. Can someone please tell me why Kevin's videos are missing? He never tells me anything because I'm a cat.
I love our chat.
Well, thank you, Rory Cats, you imposter.
You have to explain it again because I missed the first part of the
Because
show.
I can see Rory Cats right now, and he doesn't have any electronic device with which to have sent that message. Oh, yes, I'm calling you out.
Yeah, but that message is old.
But it's from a few seconds. He's lying right there. Why am I pointing? You can't fucking see me.
He's like
Anyway,
Cece. He's been, touched through the internet, and he can
he's
have
been
some magical
touched by
powers.
an angel up the arsehole here. What was I going to say? Yeah, I've mothballed my channel in order to protect it from TERPs. Brilliant.
Yep, that was it. Okay,
Yeah.
you're up to date now. All right, back to Carl, because I already forgotten what he was saying, the dumb thing he was saying this time.
Bernie Bros, the verified check mark's just like, this is fine. And they get to the end where they're just like, oh, we don't care. Like, they just start joking about it. So, right, okay, so just doxing critics of Bernie and his campaign is just fine.
This is the guy who had to apologize for doxing himself. All right, anyway.
Shooting Steve Scalise, not fine, but doxing's fine. And this is just one of those things that it's been a consistent and persistent aspect of Bernie Sanders' campaign. Has been the aggressiveness of, I'm sure it's just a fringe of his supporters.
This violence narrative is bullshit. I'm just going to call it, like, I will say there's online harassment, but in terms of, like, this throwing chairs and killing people, this is just nuts. This is complete BS.
Yeah. But he's setting it up because he thinks now, and given the polling, there's a fair chance that Sanders is going to be the opponent for Trump. So he's sucking the dick of Daddy Trump again.
Yep.
Which is interesting because he was obviously doing that for Boris Johnson as well, and they've had something of a falling out, haven't they? Then if you saw during the week, Johnson.
No, missed it.
He was supposed to be doing a state visit to America, and he cancelled.
Oh, yes, because of the phone call over Huawei and the
Yeah,
G5 stuff, right?
Yeah, the 5G communications thing. The Americans, understandably, I think, don't want the Chinese company Huawei involved because they've been giving information to the Chinese government and all the rest of it. And we're involved in what's called the Five Eyes network, which involves Australia, New Zealand, Canada, America, and Great Britain. All share information, like secret information share, to try and, for national security and all of that sort of jazz, at least in theory, but whatever. And so they don't want Huawei involved because they know they've been in bed with the Chinese government, who were a hostile foreign power and all the rest of it. So they had all that jazz. And Donald Trump hung the phone up
Yeah.
on the Prime Minister. Now, I despise both men
Yeah.
intensely. I don't want either of them to hold the offices that they currently hold. But to do that to an allied nation, we
Yeah.
have, to use the words of June, bent over backwards for America.
Yeah.
We have gone into illegal wars for you. We have debased ourselves enormously. We have allowed your tiny-handed orange motherfucker to literally step in front of the Queen. People used to get heads chopped off for shit like that.
Not really, but
And now, because of one disagreement, he's gone, no, fuck that, and hung up on him like he was a Russian hooker who refused to piss on him. Jesus.
all right, dropping bombs from the Steele dossier, going all the way back 2015.
I would watch it, though. I'll be honest. If that video still exists, I'd watch it. It'd be weird. Like, I wouldn't watch it for personal pleasure reasons, just out of morbid curiosity.
Okay, noted. If anyone has a copy, please send it to Kevin, not the media.
Yeah, please do.
Him first, and then the media. All right.
Yeah, that's the order that needs to get out, definitely.
So yeah, just for the record, this whole violence, the left and the Bernie left is violent narrative is crap. Just again, I know I said it three times here, but
the point is, apology. That's why I got onto my Boris Johnson sidetrack. Sanders is probably going to be, or at least looks likely to be the nominee. So he's starting early on the let's undermine Sanders and say he's a piece of shit narrative.
All right. Well, I think that's kind of jumping the gun, but we're not going to stay focused.
No, I know, but there are like a small number of people, Sanders included, who are going. One of whom is going to be that position. So get as much shit out as possible. Like he used to do videos about Biden. Biden's gone down in the polls and looks very.
He doesn't talk about him anymore.
Doesn't talk about it.
Yeah.
That's why Trump was trying to get dirt on Biden. Now Biden's not involved. Doesn't talk about Biden. He's now talking about Bloomberg. As he should be.
You want to bet that if Biden continues to go down in the polls, which, I mean, he might do well in Nevada from some polling I've seen, but I've also seen some weird polling that lacked a link, to be fair, but the source is a good one. So it was a polling tweet thing, account. So I think they just messed up the link. But I saw Steyer, like in second place in Nevada. I know he's been spending a lot of money there. So, but
a lot of people have been spending money there in casinos. Yeah.
If Biden goes down the polls and isn't the nominee, how much do you want to bet Lindsey Graham and all these Republicans are suddenly going to lose interest in looking up stuff about Hunter Biden? And Rudy's going to be out in Ukraine for no reason.
Yeah, give it a few weeks. If he gets past Super Tuesday and looks like he's got no chance, they'll drop the Hunter Biden stuff.
Yeah. Suddenly, Lindsey Graham's interested
all of a sudden,
him in front of the Justice Committee.
Did you know Tom Steyer's got 4 nipples? Or whatever absurd.
4 nipple Tom, that'll be the Trump nickname?
Yeah, 4 nipple Tom. Jesus Christ, what a freak.
All right. Okay, so back to Carl's nonsense, or we're really never going to get done with this.
But it's a fringe that he's failing to rein in, and that's a bit of a problem. Because, I mean, like, he said, well, I condemn bullying and harassment of any kind. It's like, did he actually just do the Jeremy Corbyn?
Yeah.
That's exactly how he talks, with that slightly reedy voice.
I would love to hear
that, Carl.
I would love to hear Carl try to do a Bernie Sanders impression.
It would be very anti-Semitic.
Oh,
it would be enormously anti-Semitic.
I don't even think it would sound like anything. I don't think he could do that sort of New York.
It would sound like Jackie Mason. Is what he would sound like.
But a really bad Jackie Mason, like a comedy
Jackie Mason,
like a Dick Van Dyke. Dick Van Dyke, Jackie Mason.
You're right, yeah.
Oh, that accent was so terrible in Mary Poppins. That people, even Americans don't even remember, that accent in that movie. And British people today still laugh about that Cockney accent.
Oh God, terrible. Anyway.
All right, so yeah, I got distracted by the impression, but oh no, I wanted to say there's actually an interesting Vox episode that analyzed phonetically Bernie Sanders' way of pronouncing it, and they linked it back to where he grew up in New York. Was it the Bronx? Or Staten Island?
I don't know.
I don't remember. It was somewhere in New York. I don't know the 5 boroughs. I don't live there. And they talked about the phonetics and how that's actually generational, and younger people now are adapting different accents. And so if you like linguistics and phonetics, it's a pretty good episode of Vox.
Australia is very big on that. A lot of older Australians have very, very mild accents. Very, mild, and the younger generation are a bit more extreme with it.
Yeah, well, I mean, back in the UK, of course, you guys had actual people in the 50s taking RP courses to lose their regional accents.
Indeed, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, now it's sort of weird. Everything's weird.
Right. Again, we are just the tangent show tonight. All the shoe fans who came to hate on us will just be like, just talk about shoe already.
I'm not having this Bloomberg hate in the chat. Michael Bloomberg is a god. Praise be upon him.
Oh man, ironic alert. This is a comedy show. Okay. Well, it's a show with dick jokes and ironic Bloomberg support.
Oh God, we've gone full Corbyn Venezuela. Why? Let it go. Let it go. He's dead already. Not literally, but politically, he's dead. Stop. Fucking hell.
All right, let's see where this goes.
Defense. Well, I'm against all harassment and bullying. Okay, Bernie, but can you condemn this specific piece of harassment and bullying?
Carl, did you condemn the specific harassment in your name? by your supporters ever.
But when he's going about it, the thing on Corbyn said violence on both sides. He defended Trump when Trump pulled down the Nazis.
You'd expect him to be consistent, Kevin.
Well, no, I'd expect the exact opposite, which is why I pointed out.
True. Good point. I'm going to show the penis in the chat. Oh, another mod already got there. They got to the penis before I could.
You wanted to accept some penis, fair enough.
Yeah, we're all open to penis in the show. All right. Hitting play.
Coming from your campaign, and is there something that you can do about it? Now, I did a video.
Okay, so he's talking about this harassment coming from his campaign. Okay, just listen.
Yeah, it's
a while ago that showed that Bernie Sanders' campaign is essentially being run by radical lunatics, and we are seeing the full expression of this coming out of his campaign as it goes on now. For example,
so again, everything he's put up has been years old.
Yeah, can I just say when he says radical lunatics, he claims that the Liberal Democrats were communists. That's a British party here in the UK who are very almost sort of died right. complete centrist or slightly to the right of centre.
Well, yeah, I mean they're to the right of Labour on some issues.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, on virtually everything, yeah. And he called them communists. So when Carl says leftist lunatics or extremists, that could mean anything. That could literally mean anything.
Yeah, it's an empty signifier for Carl.
Yeah.
All right, hitting play.
For example, there's this chap who was a Bernie bro. He drove his van, a truck, through a Republican recruiting tent. Now, that's
also it just says dislike of President Trump.
Yep.
That could be a Hillary Clinton supporter then. That could be a random senator. That could be a Ted Cruz supporter. That could be a Mitt Romney supporter. That could be any of the other people on the right that he's criticised.
I watched this, and I vaguely remember him talking about this. I'm going to be honest, I have to kind of fade out sometimes when Carl talks, because I was like, ugh. So I don't remember if he shows any clip that explains why he's calling him a Bernie bro. So we'll have to see. I genuinely don't remember.
That's why.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but nothing in what he's showing here says Bernie supporter. It says, as you point out, dislike of Trump. And that's the information we have. So
obscures the details of what's going on there, because the Republican Party is effectively the party of Trump now. Like, he's got a 95% approval rating within it. And so
more like 85, but okay.
Any Republican tent is essentially just a Trump recruiting tent. And that's what this guy was seeing when he decided, you know what, screw it, I'm going to drive into it. And he drove through it, like giving the finger to the people near it, that he was going through.
So he was arrested hour after he was a van he was driving plowed into a GOP voter registration tent.
Well, if anyone died, surely we can just excuse, they had a heart attack. It wasn't because a car drove into them.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's what you do, isn't it, Carl? Parroting far right. Like, sorry, silly me. Carry on, Carl.
I saw that Cody Johnson mentioned to Shu about that.
No, Jody Johnson, please.
Yeah. Cody Johnson replied to Shu's message about this, saying that Carl also said that Heather Heyer died of a heart attack, and Shu's response was, "I think he apologized though for it, but I don't know."
So she's believing her own tactics. Pretend to apologize. Then, if you've never seen any evidence of it, but just say, yeah, I think he's apologised, that'll do, whatever.
Yeah.
Fine.
So, think of that or make of that what you will. Hitting play.
And he seems to have not been especially concerned about whether he's actually going to kill someone or not. I mean, I'm sure that he wasn't trying to kill someone. Let's be as charitable as we can. But, I mean, this is the same tactic as ISIS, isn't it?
No, it's actually the same tactic as Charlottesville. Except it's not the same tactic at all because nobody died.
Exactly the same as ISIS. Yeah. Did he stop and cut off some heads and take over parts of the Middle East? What are you talking about? It's vehicular murder happened before ISIS existed, Carl. You dimwit.
So, I mean, okay, what do we know from what Carl's told us? Because he's not shown anything that here to link him to Bernie. We're just
Yeah.
going to be honest about the facts. He said he was giving people the finger as he plowed into the tent. So that means he had eye contact. He was doing it clearly with intent because he was completely clumsy and gave people the finger and lost control. Wasn't paying attention to where he was going. But even let's say he was trying to be disruptive. That's not like
lost control of his vehicle and went over and it was an accident. Honest, guys, honest. Honest.
No, ISIS don't drive up to Christmas markets giving people the finger and smash into a hut and don't kill anybody. Nor not like Charlottesville when some enraged white supremacists just drove into a crowd, killing one person.
I don't know who Rory Katz is now. Who are you? Show yourself. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, so that was just my point. Is like, no, it's nothing like ISIS. Carl, that was my point.
Watch Ryan Reeves' video on John Wycliffe instead.
Is that what you want to watch?
Yeah, instead of this shit.
I can totally recommend this, A Plague Tale Innocent, the gameplay walkthrough. This is an excellent game. I watched every minute of that. That was great. And
you watched 7 hours of that.
I did.
Go to bed.
It was basically what I binged on the weekend.
Yeah.
That was my weekend binge instead of Netflix. And then also the Avignon, this guy, like I said, Ryan Reeves, he comes from a Protestant perspective, but he gives really good lectures on history. Except, well, occasionally he gets kind of reactionary, but not too often. Anyway, back to Carl. We are never going to get through this.
It's going to take forever.
Yes, exactly. All right, so no talking for at least a minute.
Like trucks of peace into Republican voting.
Ooh, I know how we can make this better.
Yes, speed.
Speed it up. Our audience likes that. Oh, not the... no, quality is fine. Okay, 1.5. Okay, here we go.
Registration booths. Like, this is not acceptable, is it? I mean, this is just totally wrong, isn't it? But the thing is, this guy doesn't even think he did something wrong. Like, he's in court smirking at the camera.
Who
I mean, do
cares,
they have
Carl?
a picture here? No, they don't.
And he never demonstrated he was a Bernie guy.
Right, but I watched the video earlier. Like, he leans over his shoulder and just like, smirks.
Even Fox News doesn't say is a Bernie guy. So I'm just pointing it out because he made an allegation. He hasn't substantiated it.
Got you, sort of thing. It's like, right, that's a real concern because what Bernie Sanders has fostered here is a real contempt for democracy and the democratic process by delegitimizing his opponents. They're no longer fellow citizens who also have their own politics and concerns.
Trump?
Yeah, I was about to say, have you not seen the last 3 years?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, fuck you, man. You hypocritical sack of dog shit.
Yep, complete hypocrite. Okay.
And wish to work with the democratic organization that the country has in which to achieve those ends.
To goat, not the goat, but to goat, said Hyper Carl.
Yeah.
Going into Hyper Carl mode.
It comes to the point now where it's like, no, I just really hate Trump, so I can attack his supporters because Trump is not one thing on his own. His supporters are, by extension, also evil. And that's genuinely how Bernie Sanders has been describing them.
No. Just...
No, he hasn't, no.
No. Carl's trying to project.
He wants to win over people who voted for Trump last time. People in, like, the Rust Belt people, the ones that were talked about a lot, the disenfranchised white working class and all that stuff.
Yeah.
To win those people back. So he hasn't said Trump supporters are all evil. You're a liar. And of course, a great source, he's gone from Fox News to The Blaze.
Yes.
Trustworthy news sources only on Carl's channels.
Yes. And to be fair, I'm going to say that this guillotine thing that this person is putting out, not a good look. I'm not going to defend this, but also
people have turned up to Trump events with, was it rope tree?
Yeah, exactly. I'm not.
Some violent pricks around. That's
exactly
fucked up. You condemn those, and he has. He said, "Don't fucking go around harassing people." And I would say, guillotine memes in person, like on the internet as a joke, is one thing. In the same way that Mayo side jokes are hilarious on the internet. You take them into real life, bad. Don't do that, because that becomes a lot more fucking menacing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you said it more articulately than I have actually given a thought to. So thanks for that. All right, hitting play.
Then you get one of the latest in the sort of like Bernie wing of revolutionary socialists who have decided they're going to take over the Democratic Party and get elected and bring about real socialism for good. Well, this lunatic actually has a guillotine as her campaign logo. Like, they're not even hiding it. Like, the guillotine is the worst symbol you would use for any...
Although, to be fair, Laura Loomer is running as a Republican, so he's really not one to kind of lecture on extreme candidates. If this person, I don't know who this is, if it's just there may be 17 people.
Have Aryan Jew babies, Crystal.
Yes, please. Yes. So again, you can always pick the fringe, and he's not mentioned who this person is, or if they're mainstream, or they're not running for re-election. But again, anyway, just hitting play.
Thing. It really does just scream French Revolution, Reign of Terror, and it is one of those things that is associated with unjust executions, mass unjust executions. And so it's like to have Bernie's supporters, Bernie's wing of the party, like putting that as now this is our logo, this is the platform which we're running. And
I know it's an obscure historical point, but I just want to point out the Reign of Terror was at least in part enabled by imperialism, because there were 5 foreign armies trying to invade France at the time. I'm not saying it's therefore justified. I'm just saying the reason that was able to happen, the reason that Paris was in such a fervor, was because they literally had armies saying they were going to give up the city of Paris to military execution, which is why people were a bit fucking crazy. So again, imperialism, not good. Never has been, never will be.
Mm-hmm. Also in this, this is some random Dem candidate, and now he's linking it to the Sanders campaign. He just made this leap.
Yeah, it's not as if, I mean, it's not as if they've got like elected people like Steve King, for instance.
Yes, who's openly white supremacist.
Or maybe, you know, Roy Moore, actual fucking pedophile.
Yep.
No, that's fine. That's fine. What we need is this random dude with napkins. Or whatever the fuck that looks like a pile of napkins. It could be a book. I don't know.
I think they're t-shirts or maybe a binder. I don't know.
Some sort of cloth thing on the right there and some sort of book.
Kidman,
I don't know.
Maybe is the name of the candidate. Don't know who that is.
Kidman.
Yeah.
Nicole Kidman gone French Revolution.
Must be.
Awesome. Isn't she Australian? I think, well, you can run for Congress as a foreigner, can't
you? Yeah, you just can't run for president if you're naturalized.
Indeed.
Nice face, Carl.
Yeah.
All right.
The woman behind it has said some mental stuff, but it's a symbol of the work we have to do to overcome the flaws in our system. Imagine if, like, I don't know, the Republican, Donald Trump, whoever,
blah, blah, blah,
had
blah.
the KKK and slave owners, and like, you know, some sort of stylized KKK mask, and they'd be like, no, look, we're not going to actually persecute blacks, but it's a symbol of the work we've got to do. Everyone would freak out and legitimately.
Hang on, the Stars and Bars has been, well, it's not technically, it's not actually the Stars and Bars. Anyway, what people call the Stars and Bars, the
Confederate flag.
The Confederate flag, which was technically never actually the Confederate flag, has been used for generations, and everyone knows exactly what that is. And you can say hate, heritage, not hate, and I will say go suck all of the dicks because you're a liar.
Yeah. And Blue Jay Rhodes is saying that's literally the point of it, not saying it's a good optics decision, but it's meant to be intimidating. The thing is that it's going to intimidate way more people than just the people who are targeted, because other people don't want to be roped into mass executions via guillotining the rich. Like, they don't want to be part of that. So they're like, yeah.
And people generally, I think it's understandable, people don't want violence.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even if you think even if you take the really kind of out there leftist stance of all wealth should be abolished, you would still be better served putting that in a peaceful way, saying we're not going to kill anyone, we're just going to make everyone equal citizens. You don't have to go down the route of, well, let's guillotine some peeps. That's not a good look. Because often, I mean, Carl does have one small point correct here, that innocent people do get mixed up in that kind of fever.
Okay. And hitting play.
So this is actually insane. That they've become this radical. They've actually become like so extreme that they just are openly saying, "Look, we're going to behead people." Oh, just symbolically. It's just symbolic beheadings. It's like there should be zero beheadings. Zero beheadings. There should be no one in your country that you wish to behead purely because they exist.
Oh, again, I'm sure Carl did lots of videos on all of the nooses brought to Trump rallies and things like that, right?
Yeah. Cool. And of course the nooses that were brought to Brexit rallies here in Britain. I'm sure he was outraged.
Yes, at that symbolic violence that we have to take really seriously when...
Oh, cool. Oh, God, back to Britain again, Sarah.
Yeah.
You know, during the election, everyone was focused on, Labour anti-Semitism and the racisms in the Labour and all that. This week, and thankfully he's now resigned, although he should have been sacked. Number 10 hired a guy whose name totally escapes me. It's a weird... it's not a traditionally British surname, like a Polish-sounding surname, but he was a British guy.
Oh gosh, is this the guy who made the comment?
Well, several comments. He had argued that there should be sterilisation to stop a permanent underclass developing. He said that black people were of lower intelligence than white people, and all of that. Not only was he hired, but when asked about it specifically, the Number 10 press office refused to say whether Boris Johnson agreed with those statements.
Yeah, and I criticized that, and then someone criticized me for saying, "Oh, not doing anything." Is like, no, not saying something when that is what's been said is saying something.
Yeah, and I just want to point out the fact that they're now coming after the BBC, and the Tories really are coming after the BBC.
Mm-hmm. They're going to end the license fee.
Yeah, they've certainly threatened it. All I'll say is, BBC, you brought this on yourselves. You focused solely on anti-Semitism all the way through the election campaign, and even now, this whole racism thing wasn't even on the news website until the guy resigned, and then it was like the number 8 or 9 on the list. So you know what, BBC, you deserve everything you get now.
But didn't they put some Tory-friendly people at the top to sort of?
Yeah, well, absolutely, and not just that, but I mean, the final straw for me was it hasn't actually happened yet, and I don't think it will now. But what was mooted was they were going to have Rupert Murdoch's daughter as this Secretary General. Oh no, Director General, sorry, of the BBC. It doesn't look like it's going to happen, but the fact that they would even moot that publicly,
yeah,
you're done, lads. On you go. It's a shame. The BBC was one of the great cultural institutions of modern Britain. It's dead.
The thing is, I mean, I don't want to see the license fee necessarily go away, because what the license fee allows, or should allow, is a kind of independence and public service focus that has been unique in the world. On the other hand, it has the BBC has so much good content that honestly it doesn't properly monetize in a way that could bring the benefits back to the British people who invested so much into it. So I don't want to see the license fee go away. I just want to see better management of the kind of the comedy series and the syndications and stuff. I just feel like, anyway, this is completely off topic. All right.
Oh, Richard Dawkins, the twat. Did you see his eugenics?
Yeah, I did. I criticized him.
Richard, please stop.
Stop talking. You say bad things on Twitter like that, and then you get people. Don't even want to start. Okay, we got a minute. We were just flying through this now that we have Hyper Carl. So let's keep going.
And yet, Bernie has fostered this attitude within the Democratic Party.
All right, can we just skip? I mean, he's basically saying politicians have responsibilities and to do this stuff. Can we just skip this because we want to get to the stuff with Shoe on Head, which is really what we're here for. Is that okay?
Yeah. So we get the basic idea.
That's it. So then Shoe decided to reply to that, and that's where my name gets brought up. So ooh. I might have to up the quality here to get a better definition on some of the. See how this goes. Hopefully nothing has happened to anything technologically.
Sure, if you're just making a video or whatever, commenting about something, then sure.
Ooh,
if
pause.
someone watches that and then shoots up a.
Okay, there we go. So Shoe, I guess I have to, writes Sargon parroting establishment / MSNBC lies, chair throwing, sexist Bernie bros, and saying people should be held accountable for the actions of their followers. This is the exact same video Christy Winters made yesterday. What is this cursed timeline?
What?
I know.
What did you make about this?
That's never what I've ever said. I've never said I'm holding her.
Christy is pro droning brown people, and she's also apparently thinks Bernie throws chairs at women or something. I don't know. So let's mark those down. But before we even start, this has gone on for nearly 2 hours now. I do need to wee.
All right, you go ahead.
So I'm going to go and do that. I'll be back.
I'll talk to the chat. Who is Shoe again?
So this is a follow-up to the previous video I made
Carl.
today.
Sorry, I didn't mean to hit unpause. So hey, chat. I see Rory Katz wants more attention. When Kevin gets back, I will let him know. What else? The BBC has done the same balance fallacy as the US media. To be fair, I haven't watched the BBC for a long time. I was thinking more about in terms of, you've got Radio 4, and there's a lot of interesting, the great documentaries. I mean, here, let's just riff on video stuff because we're going to need to fill some time here. But when it comes to doing nature documentaries, so much of what we see now and the techniques that are being used by current wildlife documentarians, is that the word I'm looking for, it was influenced by the BBC because they invested a lot in their filming equipment and just putting people on the ground for days on end. They just like had the resources to get that kind of material so that they could produce that kind of great educational stuff. And that's how they get the great moments and they get the great shots. Some of that stuff, they pioneered like, you know, some wildlife documentary techniques of putting like cameras on the back of helicopters that would shoot herds of gazelle like a mile and a half off, and they could like zoom in on 2 or 3 of them.
So you're on about drone striking gazelle as well, man.
Yes.
Your yearning for blood knows no
They're
bounds.
tasty. No. So, I mean, yeah, I know that in terms of media reporting, someone was saying they're both sidesing it, but the BBC is so much more than just the news service. It's the World Service, it's Radio 4, it's the documentaries of nature. And
oh, yeah, the BBC does some amazing things. It's a shame, but it's sort of dead to me now. I hate saying that. It hurts me to say it, but I can't help but feel it is true.
Well, you're one Labour government away from rescuing it, so look at it that way. That's how I look at the Constitution.
Yeah, maybe.
All right. So yeah, June. So Carl made this video that we watched half of because he was just blathering on, and then she tweeted this out, dragged my name into it, and basically said Carl and I agreed, and we're making the same point. No, we're not. I'm not holding you accountable for your fans, June. I'm saying you have a responsibility to them. To tell them, apparently, you're not a racist anymore, because they still act like you're okay with racism. So your obligation is to your fans. It's not for you to control them. It's for you to model what being a progressive is, if you really are one. All right, we ready to listen? Or are you done with it? You want to get any snark on there? There's like a meow.
Yeah, also, June seems to forget she did a video on Carl's channel. She did the This Week in Stupid, one of the fill-in roles when he was away.
Uh-huh.
Like, you don't get to just be like, oh no, Carl's shit now.
Oh, she's a better leftist than I am, apparently.
Yeah, I'll bet. Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely. Well, she doesn't go on about droning brown people, so...
Yeah, except when she does.
Checkmate.
Yes. She pretends that that's what I'm saying. Or what was my point again? That warping's democracy. That was when asked a question about the alt-right's white supremacist framing of foreign policy. Anyway.
Oh,
that's
okay.
such a reach. Such a reach, June. Okay.
You could say she's bending over backwards.
She is bending over backwards to try to find something to criticize me on.
I think there is a lot here that we actually have to talk about. And we have to talk about the influence of political leaders, because I actually think they do have influence and can incite their followers to...
Carl was a political leader because he stood for office.
Well, not just that, but again, he kept saying, well, you can't judge Trump because some of his supporters did a thing. That's silly. And now it's Bernie Sanders
owns all this.
This person who I'm going to assign the tag of Bernie supporter, even though there's literally no evidence to actually suggest they are. They're just vaguely on the left somewhere. I'm going to say that's down to Bernie Sanders personally. He, when they say Jesus take the wheel, Bernie Sanders took the wheel from that guy and drove into the GDP. That's how.
That's it. Yeah.
Who would use their superpowers so irresponsibly? Sanders, you monster.
Yep. I mean,
I would use telekinesis to throw small objects at people to annoy them. That's how I would use it. Sanders does it. Crazy fascisms.
So here's, so being like someone who grew up in Wisconsin and supporting the Badgers, the ethic around the people who I was...
See, American sports teams always have that thing, because even though I like American sport, obviously, when you say I supported the Badgers, I'm now just imagining Badgers.
Badgers.
Just literal, actual, those little fucking black and white creatures playing sports, playing tennis or something.
We have one on our state flag.
Badger tennis.
Badger tennis instead of monkey tennis. I don't think it'd be as much fun.
Mixed doubles. Badger and monkeys together.
I would watch. That's what I would watch. So, growing up, it was the Badgers should go to whatever bowl, Big Ten thing we were competing for. But if it wasn't Badgers, then it was Big Ten pride. Like, it should be one of the Big Ten teams instead of one of the other teams. And I don't support Bernie Sanders, right? But when it comes to people making grossly unwarranted or false attacks on people who are standing in the Democratic Party, I will stand up and go, you need to sit the fuck down. Like when
Okay,
that stuff started
Chris-
coming up, wait, let me just finish. The stuff started coming up on the anti-Semitism. I was like, this is bullshit. I don't want this in our campaign. I don't want this in our discourse. No. And it's not gotten picked up at all, which is great. But the same situation. I'm not going to agree with Carl. Carl's full of shit here. And we're just going to point it out. Okay.
Okay,
I
Christy.
interrupted with a joke.
I agree with the general sentiment, the tenor of what you were saying there. But what the fuck did that have to do with the badges? I'm so
like,
lost.
the Democratic Party is kind of like, if I can't get the candidate I want, then don't fuck with my people.
Okay, but
So
just
just like,
the other Big Ten teams were your people.
yeah,
Oh, okay, right. I'm with
it was
you.
like
Right.
Midwest Pride, Big Ten Pride. You know, if it
Well,
can't be us,
I
it
don't
should be
think
one
you've
of us.
got it, have you? Because aren't they supposed to be rivals? Why are you supporting rivals, Krista?
Well, that's just it. We hate people who are like from a different division who beat us worse.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
All right, so that's my take on all of this. So yeah, I'm just gonna hit play because he's gonna get really hypocritical now. I just see all this through the lens of him being a failed politician and what he didn't do, and yet he's lecturing Bernie to
Christy,
do.
he didn't fail. He just
Got the
didn't
least
succeed.
votes ever.
He
for
just
you.
didn't succeed in a monumental way.
So just remember, did Carl rein in his supporters during his campaign? Did he speak out at all the abuse that they were doling out?
I can't hear him who's muffled by milkshake and horseshit.
Warm horse shit, yes.
Yeah, warm horseshit
He took home for later.
and kippers in the fucking mush.
Still, Pulitzer for that photo.
Yeah,
Gotta be a nominee.
amazing.
Someone
Amazing.
submit that. All right, anyway, hitting play.
To do things, and I've always held this position. If you're just making a video or whatever, commenting about something,
No, you
then
haven't
sure, if
always
someone
held that
watches that and
position. Like,
goes shoot some,
Yeah,
I've always held that position.
no.
You haven't.
You just did it faster because he's under 1.5
Yeah,
speed.
exactly, because that's what it sounded like. That's what was stuck in my head. I can't remember what he sounds like anymore.
I
I'm not the
this
guy
better.
who just came out of prison. I can't live on the outside. This is what he sounds like to me now. That was a fucking weird analogy, Kev. Shut up.
Well, probably more analogous than my Big Ten analogy. But anyway, go ahead.
I'll give you a
up a
Big Ten.
school or something.
Absolutely.
Unless you're saying go and shoot up a school or implying it in some way, then that's not a fair assertion. That's not a fair thing to connect. That person watching the video and saying, I'm a fan of X and then I shot up a school, does not mean that X is trying to get you to shoot up a school. However, when Bernie Sanders is continually using the word revolution and saying there should be no more billionaires and saying Donald Trump is the most dangerous American
Trump
president.
used the word revolution.
Yeah, Carl used the word revolution in
Yeah.
his UKIP, Revolutionary
Yeah.
Youth Wing.
Yeah, yeah. How's that going, Carl? Because you know they're literally about to go under.
How's
financially.
UKIP going?
They're literally on the verge of bankruptcy.
Help, Carl. You've got money. Send him some of that Russian Subscribe Star money you raised.
He would, but it's in rubles and it would be illegal. 'Cause there's
Probably
like
in Bitcoin.
it's in Bitcoin, which could be worth $1 million or $6, depending on which day of the week it is.
All right, hitting play.
president in history, which are things that he is saying, and then he surrounds himself with radical communists, people we can actually describe as Bolsheviks, and then
What? No, you can't.
No.
Well, you can, but you shouldn't because it's not accurate.
Yeah.
Just like, I mean, he's beginning to sound genuinely old school Glenn Beck. And it's like, Obama surrounding himself with Maoists.
Yes.
What are you talking about, you fucking lunatic? With communists. You're an idiot. I genuinely, just for the crack, I'd love to see a communist actually get somewhere someday, just to see how freaked out Carl would get. Because I don't think he'd understand. He'd be
No.
like, well, if Bernie Sanders is a communist, this person must be a super communist. Like, I don't know, he'd have to invent a new thing to call people.
Because
Hyper communism.
they've ruined it.
We
Because
can
you call
just-
everyone a communist.
Carl, show me one person in Bernie Sanders' team who is a Bolshevik. Actually, Carl, tell me what a Bolshevik is.
I scrolled through the
Describe to me
comments.
what differentiates a Bolshevik from anything else.
I scrolled through the comments, and typically white supremacist Carl Fan, someone had posted, "The first Jew to run for president is a Bolshevik. Why am I not surprised?"
Why am I not surprised at that comment?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Carl and his white supremacist audience.
But Trotsky was Jewish as well, so checkmate. That's literally an old Stalin anti-Semitism thing. Never mind.
Oh, okay. I didn't get
He
that
used his
joke.
Judaism against him. Yeah, you can't trust the Jews. Trotsky was a Jew.
All right.
Very unpleasant, but echoed down the years. So maybe Carl's the ultimate Stalinist. What a twist. You didn't see that coming, did you?
All right, hitting play.
Using Carl logic, you can accuse anyone of anything.
Yes, using Carl logic, you definitely can. All right.
Then people start getting shot or truck of peace or any other form of violence that you can name, then I think we can say there's a causal connection there. And I don't think that's unfair. I think the rhetoric matches it, the intentions and the people who are going to do that sort of thing match it, and the consequences.
So when I won't say his name, but when a certain individual shot up two New Zealand mosques, said he supported Trump, said he supported Trump's revolution, a revolution that Trump himself had called. Although, again, just like Sanders' revolution, it's a metaphorical one, more let's change the structure of government rather than let's literally armed overthrow things. And then shoots up two mosques. That's on Trump, then.
Yep. As is the guy who threatened Adam Schiff to the point where he got arrested and police went to his house and seized all his guns because Trump said, because he saw stuff on Fox.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah,
you support a terrorist, then, Carl, is what you're saying.
By extension.
Yeah.
If the logic applies, if it's transferable to someone who's not named Bernie Sanders, then yeah. All right.
Kevin surrounds himself with meowists.
Nice.
Also, that is like, I mean, literally Mao, because Mao wasn't his real name. Mao literally does mean meow in Chinese.
And as long as we're going to do random facts, when you look at the political spectrum, basically there are 4 categories. On the right, there are the radicals. Those are the people who want to take you back to, like, not even current times conservative, but like golden age. And then you have conservatives who like want to preserve stuff, but they don't necessarily want to go back to, you know, being like Amish people and having horse and carts and going that far back. Then you have liberals, and then you have revolutionaries. And revolutionary means to change. Like, it's just a political category. And I know we tie it up with other things.
Exactly. We mean it as shorthand for armed revolution, and that's wrong. Because like you say, yeah, you can do perfectly peaceful democratic revolution.
Sorry, reactionaries, not radicals. Reactionaries.
Yeah.
That's the word I was looking for. I correct myself. Sorry. They're reacting against things. So yeah, reactionaries, conservatives, liberals, and then revolutionaries or radicals are on the left. And that is because they want to change things in a systemic way. So stop misusing the word.
It's continuous. We can't say that there is absolutely no connection between some Bernie bro who shoots up a Republican or truck a piece of Republican.
Continuous. So he wants a continuous revolution. So he's actually a Trotskyist then. So he's a Trotskyist and he's a Stalinist. Carl's got some weird split personality shit.
I think he just conflated the shooting with the truck incident as well.
Yeah. Well, because they're all the same. ISIS.
It's all violence.
ISIS are communists.
It's all, yeah.
Literally, it's like an atheist thing, so impossible. But I have heard that before.
Of course.
But we mentioned the Amish there. I just want to say, if there's one thing we can learn from the Amish, good beards.
They rock the
beard
beards.
work.
And the quilting work. Oh my gosh, have you ever seen Amish quilts? And they're no sewing machines. Hand done. They're phenomenally beautiful.
But if we're going to do white genocide, which we definitely should, it's a joke, people, calm down, then they're going to have to go as well. Shame.
Yeah,
Shame.
well, you're doing your white genocide by not breeding.
I am, but I'm also doing it by... No, not completely.
Okay, good. I'm glad you saw that line and went, no, even I'm not going to cross that.
No, it's only because it's on your channel. I'd have done that joke on mine and got flagged.
Okay.
Undoubtedly.
You just have to guess what dark thing Kevin was thinking of. All right, hitting play.
I think we all know.
And Bernie saying the Republicans, or the person leading the Republicans at the moment, is the most dangerous and we need a revolution. Like, to say that these things aren't all part of a greater whole is dishonest. Let's assume, though, that...
But, wait. Trump is dangerous to the Republic? And
Yeah.
Bernie
And
wants...
you just said Bernie's dangerous. So if someone tries to shoot Bernie, is that on you, Carl?
He is a politician, so he has responsibility.
Yeah.
He's declared
So
politician.
if someone tries to be violent towards Bernie Sanders, we need to arrest Carl for inciting terrorism. According to his own logic. of
Yep.
course.
Again, if it transfers to anyone not named Bernie Sanders.
the 2016 Nevada event, where apparently chairs were thrown and Bernie bros were called sexist, didn't happen, right? Let's just assume that didn't happen. You didn't deny the other things, because the other things did happen. I have to say, if myself and Christy Winters are saying the exact same thing about this...
And we're not. Like, he just takes her stuff at face value.
They're both idiots. They're both fucking idiots.
Yeah, that does seem to be an explanation that covers all the observable cases.
Yeah.
It's got 100% explanatory value.
Yeah. Don't ascribe to malice that can be described.
Yeah, attributed to ignorance or
Attributed. That's the word I was looking for. Attributed to stupidity. That's
Yeah.
fine. They're both cretins. That's good.
So
Okay.
no, Carl, we don't agree. And that was actually, if you read through June's tweet, because I went through incognito to take a look at it, and several people, not many, but a couple of them said, "Oh, Christy and Carl agree. I knew it. She's a regressive liberal." I'm like, no, June just lies to you, or doesn't understand my critique because she's never really taken the time to hear it. Whatever it is, she's wrong, and now you've believed her, which makes you
because it's
gullible.
the typical Gamergate thing, right? They've got one mode of doing things. Everyone that we don't like has to be able to be summed up by one thing, whether it's SJW, regressive, whatever, right? Shill, neocon, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter those things either do or don't mean specific things. You have to ascribe that everyone who's against you, who disagrees with you, with that one thing. So for Carl, it's like SJW or regressive or whatever. For June, now she's changed her thing, so it's shill or neoliberal or
Brainworms.
brainworms, whatever particular thing. And so they know that works, or it did work in the past. I don't know if it still will continue to, probably because human beings are shit. But anyway, so that's what they're going to do now. Everyone's this fucking regressive now. They're a regressive liberal or whatever particular set of shit they're going to throw out today.
Yep. So just want to go for the record. No, I was saying something completely different, and I've disagreed with Carl's previous video. So there you
But
go.
you were
June.
saying it in English, and he's saying it in English. So
Clearly, it's hard to understand for a native English speaker.
checkmate,
listen.
Aaron.
Let me just get a glass of wine. All right, hitting play.
But as long as you then drink it from a Pringles can, we're all good.
I slummed it today. I got sour cream and onion, so I'd have to finish them. I've had about 10.
Are you
American.
Like
You could, yeah, I think you could say I came not from white trash per se, but definitely.
well, Christy. Anyone who says I'm not necessarily white trash is white
Well,
trash.
I have relatives who were
Very
living
well.
in mobile homes.
Yeah, of course you fucking do. You're American. Yeah.
So
Donald
I think,
Trump has got relatives who live in mobile homes.
yeah, I think it's more of a dumb. Yes. Anyway, I'm not going to go down this line because then I'm going to be accused of being anti-white.
Well, yeah, but that happens anyway, Christy, because
Yeah.
you are. It's true. The Dickster told us
I'm
all.
basically a Republican who hates white people.
It's self-hatred, surely.
Oh, I should become the
Yeah,
new David.
using car logic, you can accuse anyone of anything. You're a self-hating white Republican
But he's
and
against
a
identity
secret-
politics.
and a secret Jew who hates identity politics but loves oppressing blacks by droning them.
Yeah. With
Yeah.
documentaries from the BBC. Okay. Hitting play.
Then maybe that's not because of our biases that we're saying this. Do you think my biases are the same as Christy Winters? Obviously not. And if we're both
Yeah,
in tandem
I
on a
do
subject,
think that.
We're
I
not.
do think that, yes, Carl.
Carl, like, we could agree 2 + 2 = 4.
See? Same person. Have you ever seen Christy and Carl in the same thing?
Actually, there was a
What's
live
that?
debate we did.
I have, and it was hilarious, yeah. Fucked you over, brah.
Come back on the happy hour. Don't just hide
Has
with
the
Kevin.
Has the swelling gone down, Carl?
Come back.
Sit on a bucket of ice. That would
Spank.
help. I think.
Spanking.
Okay.
All right, hitting play.
of neither of which support, then maybe from these two different perspectives, we're seeing the same thing. That's
Nope.
slightly more objective, I would suggest, than
Nope.
your
Different perspectives, Carl. You're the same person. We've discussed this. You and Christy Winters are inseparable.
Oh no, does that mean I'm crushing on you now?
Almost certainly. You have been doing a show with me for over 2 years now, so I'd say yes. That can be the only. That can literally be the only reason this has continued.
Yeah.
Any self-respecting person who didn't want the KD would have gone, this is a waste of my fucking time. The man's an idiot. I'm going to go and do something productive instead of listening to 4 more years of cup jokes.
I think we've been friends like almost 5 years now. 2015, right?
Yeah. Which, I mean, again, as I say to people who come and listen to me talk, that's on you. You should have left by now. You should have worked this out and left.
So anyway, the thing is that because
Note there, ladies and gentlemen, and NBs in the audience, she didn't disagree.
no, moving off to the different topic. I was couldn't segue out of that.
And then went, oh shit, I better say something.
Oh, Orion, Christiana Player, she just crushed a lot. Carl's balls. Yeah.
With her mind.
Metaphorically, of course, in Minecraft.
Yeah, she uses her telekinesis to jab Carl.
What was the Elon Musk?
Oh, yeah, Carl, you're a mass murderer. It's just a generic insult.
Yeah, and the generic insult, kind of crushing your balls kind of way.
Yeah.
High five to Orion. That really made me laugh. Not so much that my name was in it, but
You're
just
going
that
to
you
say
did a
high
bar.
five to Elon Musk.
No, no, definitely not. No, definitely not. That would like, yeah. Definitely.
Is that worse than wanting to drone strike brown people? I don't know.
So yeah,
crimes tonight is outrageous.
the thing is, so getting back to me. So the thing is that June, that June put my name in this, and now
Yeah.
Carl is saying my name and saying we agree, and he doesn't know anything other than what June said, and June doesn't understand apparently what I said. If she thinks I said what Carl said, and now Carl thinks we agree, we don't agree.
You could have stopped both those sentences by just saying Carl doesn't understand and
No.
June doesn't have a clue.
Carl and I don't agree. Our critiques are not the same. They're aimed at different people. First of all,
Yeah, they're not even the same criticism of the same person.
Oh, I'm really sad that we had to get like 2 hours and 10 minutes for me to make that joke. But anyway, you're here for it now. Yeah, and then the love. He's saying that Bernie owns all the violence done by people who aren't doing violence. He's pointing to stuff that happened in 2016, and this car accident collision.
From people he can't even ascribe with any level of success to Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, and he didn't even
Decided-
demonstrate. Yeah, the van guy was a Sanders supporter, and so no, June, just stop, and Carl. Stop. Both y'all, stop. Take my name out your mouths on this topic. I will talk to June about her unrepentant racism. I want to have that conversation, but I don't want to be in the middle of all
I get the
this.
feeling she doesn't want to have that conversation.
Come on the show, June. It'll be fun. You too, Carl.
We'll be
you come back.
super nice to
June
you,
and
aren't we?
Carl and you and me. It can be a double date.
Oh, wow. Well, they are both married. Well, I don't know if she's married. They're both committed relationships.
Well, it
Apart
would
from
only be
Carl
for the
going
hangout.
Going to certain massage establishments in the Swindon area regularly.
Well,
But
yeah.
apart from that, committed relationship, Carlin. Definitely.
Yeah, well, like a play date.
Oh, and of course, chatting up transgender people when you're against transgenderism, apparently.
What did
Do you
I miss?
remember that with Carl and his wife? Never mind.
Oh, right. When he was
Your position on it as a
Sorry.
fan of Bernie
Oh,
Sanders
oh.
and someone who dedicates a lot of
Anyway. Yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah. We had a video we were watching. Let me go back like 3 seconds.
Who cares? Oh, Christy, every second you go back is another hour on the fucking show.
Actually, it's only half a second now, or 45. Anyway, I'm just gonna hit play.
than your position on it as a fan of Bernie Sanders and someone who dedicates a lot of her time online to defending Bernie Sanders. I appreciate that it's easy to get into the mindset of, well, look, he's not that bad. And no, I don't think Bernie himself is that bad, but I think the movement he is leading, as I titled the video, has some really quite dangerous fringe elements, and they're not being checked by Bernie. Bullying people online isn't being evil. Is that something you stand by, Shu? That's something you believe, is it now? Bullying people online isn't being evil. That's so compassionate. I can't get over it. When this guy says Bernie apologizes for literally everything except the violence of his followers, then you get your followers replying, makes sense not to apologize for the things that never happened. A Bernie bro actually shot a guy. A Bernie bro truck of pieced a Republican registration.
Literally, neither of those things you could actually ascribe to them being Bernie bros.
Yep.
Because then, I mean, there's no evidence that they were.
I
They were both on the left, it would appear, but that's about it, really.
Yeah, I mean, again, Carl, if you didn't present anything, like I know your audience is just gullible, so they believe you, but I don't remember anything about that guy being a Bernie bro. Again, someone in the chat said he was like a hard fringe left person, and And
but they're all Bolsheviks.
right, because then they all get
So-
conflated down into one
Yeah.
category. I'm
Well,
sorry,
that's
I
what
forgot.
that's exactly their thing. If I can just say they're all communists, then it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If the Liberal Democrats all the way through to actual Bolsheviks are all Bolsheviks, then no matter what they do, I can fit it into a narrative.
Yeah, but when Trump incites violence against Adam Schiff, or one of his followers becomes so obsessed with all of the people he hates that he starts sending stuff to them that he gets arrested for threatening to murder people and attempted murder or something. Where's Carl on? Where are the videos on that?
Yeah, and he literally said, "I'm not going to judge you for being a Nazi." Oh, Carl, your mask slips so regularly.
Yep. Yeah. All right, hitting play.
That. Dude, this is really happening. You can't pretend that there is absolutely nothing wrong with Bernie and his campaign. Like nothing bad has ever happened, because it clearly has. And then as well. That's the thing. Because you say, "Oh well, why make things up?" and post what is actually not an apology, but Bernie saying, "I'm sickened by this despicable act. Let me be as clear as I can be. Violence of any kind is unacceptable in society." Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, okay.
What? Again, he made his obligatory one sentence and just, "Oh, that's enough."
Yeah.
What does it actually say there?
You can just see his attention fading. I can't do
I
any
will
more
do
words.
this for you, Carl. I will do this for you. I will read the whole thing out. Right? It says, "I have just been informed that the alleged shooter at the Republican baseball practice is someone who apparently volunteered on my presidential campaign." Oh, okay, right. So that was the thing, right?
Okay.
Vermont Independent.
How come we had to wait for Shu to give this us?
Exactly. Well, why didn't Carl bring this up and say, "Look, here's proof. Here's actual proof. This is
Oh,
Bernie."
because then he'd actually have to read his words.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Yeah, keep
Vermont
going.
Independent said in brief remarks on the Senate floor, "I am sickened by this despicable act. Let me be clear as I can. Violence of any kind is unacceptable in our society. But I condemn the action in the strongest possible terms. Real change can only come about through..." Sorry, I need to get close to my screen. This is
Nonviolent action and anything else runs counter.
and anything else runs counter to our most deeply held American
And that's why he didn't read it out.
Why? Also, Carl, why are you expecting an apology? You know he didn't do it.
Yep. I don't know what other statement he could make.
Yeah.
What else could he say?
Yeah,
Honestly.
what are you expecting him to say?
Read this and tell me what's missing.
Oh, yeah, and sorry, I shot the bloke.
Well, of
No.
course he didn't. So no, yeah,
He didn't,
exactly.
Yeah, the other guy did. The only person who can actually apologise, in theory, I suppose he could apologise for everything allowing him on, but then that's saying that he's apologising for not being able to tell the future, which would be a weird thing to apologise for, considering no one can.
Yeah, because this is what you want a politician to say when someone associated with your campaign does something like this. You wouldn't want to say something like, "Oh, punch that guy, I'll pay your lawyer bills," or
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I
when
could shoot
violence
someone.
was done in Trump's name,
Yeah.
and he literally offered to pay the legal fees of the
Yep.
guy. That's fine though in Carl's world, because Orange Man good.
I don't remember Trump ever saying anything this explicitly anti-violence in his entire
No, he said there
campaign
were-
or presidency.
He said there were good people
Tyrantship.
on both sides.
Yeah.
They're very fine people, to quote him directly. Very fine people on both sides of a Nazi parade.
Yeah. So maybe direct your criticism at the person, the tyrant, who encourages violence at his rallies, or encouraged violence at his rallies, and was fine with Nazis killing people.
And said he was going to lock up his political opponent.
And is currently running a series of investigations. He was furious that McCabe did not get charged, apparently, because he is using the Justice Department to go after his political enemies, and he won't stop until he's out of office.
Yeah.
But, hey, it's really important that we mischaracterize Bernie Sanders.
Yeah. And that's the thing. We've had to wait 3.5 minutes in when the very thing he started off with was this guy shot a dude and he was a Bernie supporter, but didn't show the evidence, even though literally he has the evidence that the guy apparently volunteered for the Sanders campaign. Why didn't you show us that at the start, Carl?
Because then he'd have to read out the whole statement. That's why he stopped. He stopped reading it right when it started to go into him condemning violence.
Yeah.
And he definitely did not say the word non-violent action.
No.
Avoided that completely. All right, hitting play.
Good people on both sides. Is that it? I deplore all violence. See, the communist regime and the protesters. this is not an apology. This is not him
What are
taking
you
responsibility
talking
for the
about?
kind of.
What communist
What
regime?
apology? He's condemning violence in politics. What apology? Sorry.
And also, in terms of apologies, there was a fantastic. I did watch. I rarely watch his shit anymore, but I did watch a video put out a few days ago about Graham Linehan because it's been on my mind.
Yeah.
And it was apparently the title was Graham Linehan apologizes to Count Dankula, and I thought, oh no, he hasn't.
I saw that one.
And he
I didn't watch it though.
He didn't. No, he basically said that he'd come to reassess the advice he was given by some people who he now doesn't like because they're pro-trans. That's it. He literally didn't. He didn't apologise to Count Dankula, but because he'd given that tiny bit of ground, Carl was like, "Oh, he's apologised to Count Dankula. I accept your apology."
Sorry, I was eating a Pringle.
You're like 7, Carl. You're embarrassing, mate.
Yeah, I think you sort of, in terms of some kinds of development, that's emotionally where he pegs on some. It seems to me.
Did you get dropped on your head at any point, Carl? I do have to ask.
All right, hitting play.
Because I want to know if am I taking advantage of someone here, or is this like fair? I don't know if he's fair game.
Well, he's pocketing a lot of change, so I think so. All right, hitting play.
Atmosphere that he is fostering, and it is what he is fostering. I mean, he literally said, we're trying to bring the Democratic Party together to defeat the most dangerous president in history. Dude, Donald Trump is not worse than Andrew Jackson, all right?
Johnson?
I think he means Johnson. I think he does.
Because you're watching that Civil War, or have you made it through the end of that Civil War course?
Oh, yeah, I have, yeah.
Yeah,
that was the guy that was impeached, wasn't it?
Yeah, first one.
Who was, he was pretty racist, but I don't think he...
Well, he did do the Trail of Tears, too. He was horrible.
No, he was, but in terms of, frankly, is that any worse than a great many of the other presidents who did shit like that?
Yeah, well, he compares... He's trying to compare him to Trump and saying Trump isn't that bad. Well, that's because Trump can't get away with it.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Like, owning human beings is not legal anymore, so Trump can't be as bad as the first dozen or whatever.
Yeah, he's being as bad as he can to people who are applying for asylum.
Yeah.
He's trying to ban Muslims again.
Yeah.
It's only because the media is watching him and he gets a little bit of, people who occasionally say you can't do that. Like that would hurt your reelection. But those people are fewer and far between now, which is why he's becoming more brazen.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, like people like Ulysses Grant, who's seen as like a hero in America for understandable reasons. He also did like the Indian Wars and things.
So Mallory Worlton in the chat says Andrew Jackson did the Indian Removal Act.
Yeah. Okay.
So a bit of American history that doesn't get taught prominently enough.
I was actually reading today about the Iroquois Confederacy. It's a fascinating system of government they had. The idea that they were, uncivilized savages, it was just ludicrous.
Well, I've read that one of the influences for the structure of government was that confederacy.
Yeah.
Because the Americans, interacted with the tribes in that confederacy and saw how it operated. So.
Well, yeah, it was actually really well constructed, where the two larger of the 5 nations in the Confederacy couldn't, in the Iroquois Confederacy, not the Southern American thing. It meant that the two larger ones couldn't just dominate. That that was the Onondaga or whatever had like the casting vote. So the 3 smaller nations, if they wanted a thing, the 2 bigger ones couldn't just say no. They had to talk about it and come to a solution, a compromise, which is very good.
Yeah. Okay. As interesting as this is, we should continue on with Carl, who is much less interesting.
Kevin, the last time you said we were made up, lol. Who did I say was made up? What?
I'll let you ponder that.
Like you have had way worse.
Queen Curry in the chat said that I said who were made up. What?
Oh, maybe you had a spat over the chat.
I don't know.
Or maybe we.
and solidarity with the Wet'suwet'en.
Oh, and you said we were made up. Apparently.
Who were made up? What?
Okay, can we move on with Carl now instead of the chat? As interesting as this is, you guys can follow up on Twitter afterwards. Follow up after class, guys. All right, anyway.
Presidents than Donald Trump. Donald Trump is no worse than Bill Clinton. Like, this is wild, but this is the kind of...
Way worse.
Like Bill Clinton, was clearly a sexual predator. But that's just something he has in common with Trump. Everything that Trump did was. I did not say the Haudenosaunee or whatever, how you pronounce it. I said the Iroquois as a name had become a slur term by Americans. And that, no, they didn't call themselves Iroquois. There were 5 different groups. Anyway, so I didn't say you were made up. You were people. Sorry, we're getting First Nations.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
So that's what the Iroquois called themselves, was the Haudenosaunee.
Okay.
Anyway, well, I've not heard that word actually said aloud, so I'm not entirely sure if that's how it's pronounced. But anyway.
All right. So yeah, Bill Clinton, as you said,
Bill
has
Clinton
things in common. Yeah.
Has Bill Clinton's worst aspect was him being a sexual predator, which is one thing he has in common with Trump. But Trump's so much worse in virtually every other way.
Yeah, like Bill Clinton participated in his impeachment, and okay, he exercised some privilege, but he actually gave over documents and witnesses.
Yeah. And note that Carl went straight for a Democratic president rather than say
Nixon.
one closer to the present day, George W. Bush, dragging
Yeah.
America into illegal wars and destabilizing things like creating ISIS and things like that, and increasing the power of the Saudi Arabian government and the Iranian government. Anyway.
Anyway, yes.
Oh, sorry. I said the phrase Haudenosaunee was made up to confuse Christie. Sorry. Okay, that would have been a joke. Apologies to Fake Oracle. Sorry. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think he was just looking at difficult to pronounce names and calls them.
That was the discussion we had about where James Cook was killed. James Cook getting a second mention on the show now. Brilliant.
Again, you have to. Is that the one that got taken down? No, that was just last week, so it was fine.
No, but so he was the sailor chap in the British Navy who was a Captain Cook, who was thankfully murdered by the Hawaiian people on Valentine's Day. So that was the joke I was making. And the place where he was murdered is a really hard to pronounce thing for an Anglo-tongued person. And so presumably someone put Haudenosaunee in the chat, and I said that's made up.
Yeah.
But I didn't literally mean the people were made up. I just meant like it's a made-up sounding name because English names are called Brixton or something.
Fingering Hoe,
yeah. Yeah. Butthole Lane.
Yeah.
It's a literal place.
Swindon.
Fuck Swindon.
Swansea.
Swindon means milkshaked fat twat in Middle English.
I do now. All right, so we'll hear about. I mean, at this point, we've kind of done all the stuff, which was Carl's initial stuff, and then June bringing me into it for some random reason, and then Carl being completely hypocritical. Should we try and power through? Okay.
Irresponsible rhetoric. This is incitement. To say that the opposition is the most dangerous you've ever experienced and that we need to defeat them. This is totally irresponsible. And he is constantly using the word revolution.
Carl, sorry, it's difficult to power through, isn't it? Carl, the man you support and whose dick you've sucked for the last 4 fucking years, his tiny, tiny orange cock, Carl, he literally threatened to imprison the person. And not just once, as a slip of the tongue. Lock her up was a consistent chant by various people who were involved in his campaign, who are now, ironically, in prison. It was consistent that he wanted to lock up his political opponent. So the fact that various of his political opponents were being targeted for violence by Trump supporters means you support a terrorist president, by your own logic.
Yep. Everything that he's saying about Bernie applies so much more aptly to Trump.
Yeah.
I don't know why I have to say this, but revolution is a word that has violence implicit in it. To have a revolution, you must...
Like the Industrial Revolution was violent?
Yeah.
The scientific revolution?
The sexual revolution?
The sexual revolution. No, Carl, it just means massive change. If you read Locke, you would know.
Yeah. I don't think he has.
I don't think he has either.
No.
I think he's read excerpts of Locke and then just drifted off like he did with
he read the blurb on the back of one of the books or something. Yeah.
I want to quiz him on Locke.
When he says, "Have you read Locke?" he means, "Have you read the name?"
Well, also, like, it's not
Have
like
you read literally? Have you read John Locke's name?
yeah,
Have you read Locke?
it's not like the guy only wrote one book. You know, like I'm pretty sure he wrote many things. So, which of the Locke writings are you? Anyway, sorry, back to Carl hitting play.
Must have violence, and that's why these people are hearing this as a dog whistle at the very best interpretation, if not an outright command, and saying, you know what, that's a great idea.
The digital revolution.
An outright command.
So violent, the digital revolution.
What command? What are you talking about? You fucking twat.
Can we just, to entertain me, people in the chat, just spam it with non-violent revolution examples, like the scientific revolution, the digital revolution, the sexual revolution. Let's just see how many non-violent revolutions.
The Velvet Revolution, which was literally the takeover of a government, but peacefully.
Ah.
So that can actually happen as well.
Yep. All right, so that is my request. I'll wait for the lag to catch up. But was there a point? Sorry, I was so distracted with my non-violent revolution idea that I kind of lost the plot there. Did you?
Oh no, he was just going about if it's not an outright command. And you just think, what? You fucking propagandist hack. You absolute fucking shit smear.
Yeah. So June, go after him. Please, I want to see you guys argue about this. That would be so entertaining and just insightful and not ways you would think.
I'm not going to go after a white person.
Yeah. All right, hitting play.
Yeah, oh, sorry, a white straight cis man. She can't, because she can't use any of her old tactics on that. What's AEW Revolution? I don't know what that is.
Digital Revolution. Second Treaties. Oh, of Locke's Second Treaties, probably. Rock and Roll Revolution. Yeah. I don't know what the AEW is. We'll have to ponder that one while we listen to Carl at 1.5 times speed.
Surrounded by Bolsheviks. This is why.
Again, Carl, just because you say it again doesn't mean it's still as incorrect as the first time.
It will never be right. It will never be. I don't even. What do you think he means by Bolsheviks? The Dance Revolution?
Yes. Thank you, Mallory. Mallory Walton.
Oh, that was good. What were we saying? Oh, he just said Bolsheviks. I honestly don't even know what he means by Bolshevik.
Well, yeah, I mean, literally, I asked him earlier. Like, describe to me what a Bolshevik is, Carl. What does that mean?
To me, they're Russian communists from the 20th century. Like, if you want to make the argument Nazis don't exist because Nazi Germany doesn't exist, well, the Soviet Union doesn't exist, so how can Bolshevists exist?
Oh, burn. That's good. Yeah.
Like, who is a Bolshevik? How are you a Bolshevik these days? Maybe I'm just really, I'm not down on Marx, I'm going to be honest, so I don't know all the ins and outs, but I don't know the necessary and sufficient conditions of being considered a Bolshevik.
Well, Bolshevism is basically Marxism-Leninism. It's Leninism evolving from pure Marxism.
Okay, so you could be a theoretical. You could be theoretically a Bolshevik, but obviously not a practicing one.
Well, essentially, as with so many things from literally over 100 fucking years ago now, it's not practical. The whole point of Leninist, I mean, this is getting really into the minutiae, but I like history, so fuck it. The whole point of Leninism being itself attached to the end of Marxism is that there were concrete differences between the world that Marx was describing and the ones that the people in the Russian Revolution faced. So essentially, it was Leninism's practicality in that situation guiding Marxist philosophy in terms of the construction of a new government. Okay. So that's not practical now. Yeah. So you could realistically be a Marxist-Leninist in the pure sense, although of course there are people who call themselves that, but they don't live in anything like the world that once existed. So it's not really practicable. So the idea of there being actual Bolsheviks is impossible.
Yeah, because Lenin's not trying to make any government anymore.
No, he's very dead.
Last time I checked, I went to Lenin's tomb. I've told you this story before. I saw Lenin. Did you? Sorry, what?
So what did he say?
Nothing. He was dead. He's mostly wax. He's
well,
very
you didn't
waxy.
mention the time, so he could have been alive. He could have just been an empty tomb. I don't know.
Oh no, you see him.
It's a joke. Yeah, I know. He's in a glass case. I know.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to be so American.
Yeah, I don't know what they did there. That's really strange. Just fucking bury him or burn him or something. Don't fucking keep him embalmed like a doll.
Well, they just keep adding more wax to him.
Yeah, he's
keep
mostly
him-
wax at this point.
And that's kind of what I think. Yeah.
How do we know they haven't Madden 2 swords still, and he's actually just a pile of bones in the ground?
We wouldn't.
Yeah.
We
Anyway,
wouldn't.
what was I going to say?
Bolsheviks.
No, someone in the chat said something that I can't remember now. Shit, never mind. Doesn't matter.
Wrestling PPV?
I don't think that was what I was going to respond to. No. But never mind.
All right, then. We'll just hit play. We can get Carl mid-karate chop here.
The Bernie's movement looks like it does. And it's not based in, like, honesty or truth or anything. 'Cause, I mean, like, let's assume Donald Trump is the most
What?
dangerous president in American history. Then why on earth do 6 in 10 Americans say they feel better off, actually?
That has nothing to do with Donald Trump, actually, if they're feeling better off economically because he doesn't run the economy.
I mean,
You want to... Sorry, you can make... You go ahead, and then I want to have a Twitter.
No, yeah, I'm
Twitter-
just going to make the general point that, I mean, there are fascist dictatorships that exist that initially do reasonably well and get a lot of support from the populace. That doesn't mean they're not very, very dangerous. You know,
Yeah.
Hitler won millions of votes, right?
And I think of the last polling I saw, which of course is a couple weeks old now, but 49% of Americans said they definitely were not going to vote for Trump.
Which means he's going to win a lot of the remaining 51.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, not even 50% of that 51%, as we saw from the Electoral College.
Yeah.
But still a fair percentage of the remaining 51%.
Someone on Twitter pointed out, because the stock market hit a record high, they said, do you know the other presidents who also saw record high stock markets in their presidency? Obama, Bush, Clinton, Bush, Reagan,
Yeah, 'cause it goes up,
Carter. Yeah, exactly. Every one of them has it because it goes up. That's what it does. Like, it's not an accomplishment.
Yeah. And also, I think, did we talk about this last time, possibly off air, that one of the greatest spikes in the stock market ever was when Pearl Harbor happened.
Mm.
So the stock market going up is not necessarily a sign that all things are well. It's
Yep.
just rich people are going to make some money.
Well, and again, in America, because a lot of people have 401ks, their money is sunk in the stock market as well, so they pay attention.
Which is actually, in a purely Machiavellian sense, an absolutely fucking brilliant
Yeah.
tactic for the rich in America.
Yeah, that's why they
You
want to get
then-
Social Security, and they want to put it all in the stock market.
Yeah, you've then tied the worth and future well-being of the poor into how well the rich do,
Yep.
but without actually having to give them much at all.
Yeah, they just get the crumbs.
Yeah, it's brilliant. If you ignore the morality of it, it's fucking.
It's also what they want to do with public education.
Hmm.
They
Yeah,
want to turn
it's like-
taxpayers into consumers.
It's pure, perfect Chicago school evil,
Mm.
is what it is.
Yep. Okay, on that happy note, hitting play.
Things are going good. And the thing is, I do worry that you are in a bit of an echo chamber of your own by essentially suggesting, and again, this is the problem with cults.
He's mansplaining here to Shu that she's in an echo chamber.
Yeah. Yeah. Even though he's in such a far right echo chamber that he would think the whole Heather Hyatt had a heart attack
Mhm.
bit.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
please tell us about other people.
Mansplain more.
Although I'm not sure the sound waves will leave the concrete chamber of echo that you live in. Okay.
All right, hitting play.
When you say that the dear leader has never done anything wrong, which your supporters were saying there, and you said, even though he didn't apologise, this creates a kind of warped paradigm, because if he's never been in the wrong, then everything he says must be definitionally correct, because he's never wrong.
No, not definitionally, you twat. Even if a person has never been wrong about anything up to this point, does not mean they can be perfect in every way going forward. So even under your ridiculous paradigm that you set up, you're still wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Because someone can have a perfect, 140-0 record and then lose, or whatever the equivalent would be in lying terms, or being incorrect terms. So I don't know what you're talking about, you fool.
See, I knew that this one was going to be, you were going to be more animated for this one than the first one, so I'm glad we got
the
here.
first one was just slightly boring. If I'm
Yeah,
honest.
that's why we just
But
needed it for
it was
context.
good to know. It was good to know the background of what the fuck this bit was even about. Yeah.
Yes, this little spat between them.
No, it took us 2 fucking hours to get there.
Well, to be fair, we should, yes. Anyway, I'm going to hit play so it's not 3 hours.
And then he puts out stuff like this. Again, this is just irresponsible. I realize that you're not from Europe, but just saying all of these places have universal healthcare is not a radical idea. And then pointing to like Greece and the United Kingdom are the two examples I'll pick off the top of my head, because these are not countries that have successful healthcare systems. The Greeks spend more money.
They are. Well, I can't speak for Greece, but Britain has a enormously successful healthcare system.
Yeah, I agree. I used it when I lived there for 8 years.
Yeah, Carl, there's no one going bankrupt because of healthcare in Britain, and we generally have higher health outcomes, and it's a lot cheaper. A lot cheaper.
I will say the German care is nicer, but it's functional at the NHS.
Yeah, we've talked about it before. Yeah, and that's fine. Look, I'm sure there are improvements that could be made in a number of ways, but the point is, it's enormously successful, way more so than in America. And again, I thought Carl was like, I'm not a far right wing. I support universal healthcare. Do you? Or are you just pandering to right wing garbage in America? Because that's literally how you've now earned your livings. Like the plover eating the scummy bits at the bottom of a fucking shark.
Yeah, and also like here his gotcha is the Greeks spend more money on healthcare than any OECD country. Well, someone's gonna spend more than everybody else. And the thing is with let's talk about Greece, okay? Like in terms of organizing things, that's not necessarily like I don't know what the problem is, and maybe they have like aging population issues. I don't know, but
I'm going to say Greece topped out about 3,000 years ago. I'm just going to put it that way.
It is a lovely place, but there
are issues with Greece. Yes.
Yes, like when you call up and you ask. I had a friend who was getting married there, and she called a venue. And she said, well, okay, do you have the date? Yeah, we have the date available. And how many seats? Yada, yada, yada. And she said, okay, so if I have this, this, and this, what's the price? And he started the sentence with, well, if you want to pay tax, it's going to...
Who wants to, really?
Right? So,
if you can get away with it, yeah.
Right? If you don't want to pay tax. So, yeah, I mean, that's kind of the story that sums up Greece to me.
Yeah, Greece is not a fair comparison to anything. But yeah, ultimately...
They still do better than the Yanks. Yeah.
Who cares, really?
Yeah, they still do better than America in terms of actually providing health care.
There are second and third world countries who have comparable health outcomes in a number of areas. I think I've mentioned this before, but Cuba's a third world country. It has significantly better infant mortality rates.
Because they invested in...
But Cuba's healthcare system is so good at training nurses and doctors that they give nurses and doctors to allied nations in South and Central America to help their healthcare system out. And they still have better health outcomes than some in America do. It's amazing. They're a third world country. Since the collapse of the Soviet Union, they've been dirt poor. And they still have fundamentally a pretty sound healthcare system. America's the richest nation ever, and you have people dying for want of money and going bankrupt. Everyone gets sick. Every human being who has ever lived at some point will get sick. And people are going bankrupt in America, the richest nation ever.
All right, should we hear about the Greeks, what he has to say?
Oh, please do. I can't imagine it. I mean, he lives in Britain and he has no fucking clue what's going on here. So what he's got to say about Greece, God only knows.
Yeah, good point.
Have you even read Plato?
From economic cooperation in developing countries, because their healthcare coverage by the public option, the universal healthcare system they have, only covers 61% of their health costs. The rest of it is paid by private insurance or just out of their own pockets. It's not working according to Greek think tanks who are concerned about the issue, and up until recently they were led by a leftist government.
Hang on,
and the reason it's not working...
Whoa, time out. So they have a 40% private healthcare system.
Yep.
Do you not think that might be inflating the costs a little bit and why they're spending more than most OECD countries? Because Britain, like I say, the fact that we're able to barter on a national level for drugs and services means we get it much cheaper.
Also, I got just on a bigger picture, because he's distracting us with Greece and think tanks that articles he hasn't read.
Well, Greece is the word. It's the word that you heard.
But what is he saying here? Because Greece can't run their healthcare system in a way Carl thinks is financially efficient. Americans should just not worry about having healthcare? I mean, what is his bigger point here? I don't quite get it.
It's just attack.
Oh, right.
America,
yes.
You're right. I'm propping you up. Give me your money on the Russian site that's going to fucking screw you over.
All right, let's see if he actually brings us back to the Bernie Revolution, because now he's off on a healthcare tangent. So I'll just hit play and see where he goes, because who knows where Carl's mind will wander.
Well, Carl doesn't know where he's going.
No,
does he?
that's true. That's true.
Working is because of austerity. They're like, oh God, we can't afford this. What are we going to do? Well, the answer is nothing.
Oh yeah, Greece is under austerity. That probably puts a
Yeah.
really big pinch on their
Yeah, the
economy, and might be something we actually should say. We should discount Greece in this when we talk about it, because they had the whole EU austerity thing.
Yeah, the fact that directly elected Greek governments were toppled because the European Central Bank and Angela Merkel were like, nah. And by the way, I know she's looking after German interests, so I'm not really attacking it. I dislike her politics enormously, but I'm not even saying she's the problem here. Money, the Greek banks fucked over the Greek system
Yeah, they did.
enormously.
Yeah.
And the European Central Bank went, well, we know you voted for this government, but nah, you're going to have to do this thing anyway.
Yeah, and also, as we've discussed earlier, in terms of tax collection, it's a bit of a challenge for the Greek government.
Yeah.
Right? People have special nets they buy to hide their pools, because the government will survey the land with helicopters and they'll assess your property based on whether or not you have a pool. So there's a whole industry of just these nettings that make it look like you have just a plain backyard.
Basically, much of Greece is camouflaged.
So
Greece as a nation is wearing khaki.
Yeah.
Basically, in order to hide assets from the Greek government.
Yeah. So they struggle with tax revenues. They didn't adhere to the spending caps, which were pretty harsh, that the EU regulated. Then one of those, the finance industry, who was it that did their books? Was it, who was the guy, who was it that Pete Buttigieg worked for before as a consultant?
I have no idea. who you're talking
McKinsey? Some kind of accountancy group came in and like helped the Greeks cover up some of their debts, whatever else, and made it look not as bad, and then it all just came crashing down. But this has nothing to do with Americans having healthcare.
Yeah.
None of this.
So this enormously indebted, economically phenomenally unstable government aren't able to give their healthcare
Perfectly.
Yeah.
Under
Therefore-
austerity.
Therefore, the richest nation that's ever existed can't either.
Yeah. And also,
Right, okay.
does this mean that wanting healthcare is like having a violent revolution? I just don't see the
Yes.
thread
Yeah.
connect
Did
here.
you know if you give poor people medicine, that's as bad as literally the Stalinist purges?
Mm,
It's as bad as that,
Yes.
Kristen.
as bad. Blue Jay in the chat says it was McKinsey was the I can't remember. I don't want to it was one of the sort of American companies that helped the Greek government do its books, but they didn't really help. They kind of made it worse. Anyway, trying to get. Do we want to finish this? Is that the goal here, or have we had enough?
Yeah, let's power through. I want to see where he's going with this. This is so
Let's
strange.
see where it ends. All right, here we go. Hitting play.
The answer is nothing. Greece is broke. The Greeks can do nothing. Their health system is going to collapse. They're going to do nothing about
No,
it. This is
it's
why they have to
not.
refuse healthcare to refugee children, which gets everyone up in arms. Oh my God, I can't believe you won't treat these refugee children. Dude, they're not treating millions of Greeks. Like, do you understand? Well, not millions. Greece isn't that big a place. But they're not treating a sizable portion of the Greek population. They have to pay for these things privately. UK, my God, right? The NHS in this country is not doing very well. Apparently 6 million people are on
Well, who's running the government, Carl?
Yeah, because the government you just helped
Get
just
reelected.
encourage people to vote for.
Yeah,
You dopey
it's
shit.
not the
mate.
NHS
And
on
by the
its
way,
own.
I told you, didn't I? The public spending commitments they'd given before the election
Yeah.
were abolished. Yeah, it did come out this week. Instead of $43 billion being invested, it's actually going to be nearly $43 billion in cuts.
What?
Yeah, that's the rumored numbers that are coming out from the new puppet Chancellor of the Exchequer's office. So, well done, everyone. You're full of shit, Carl and the Tories. Fuck you all.
Yeah, Carl, if you're criticizing the way the NHS has been run and it's not been managed well, the only people you can blame for that are the Conservatives, the people you support. Take it up with them. Don't take it up with Bernie. They're screwing it up. So yeah, that is a thing to be said, though, and this is a word of caution for people who would want to have a government-provided health care service and then private insurance for anything the government doesn't cover, is all it takes is Republicans getting back into power and it's gone, or at least it's on its way to being destroyed, because we see that's what the Tories are doing.
Yeah.
So there's got to be a some sort of. I think the reason I think the German system is so good for America is because it allows for the private insurance companies that people are used to, but it also reins them in, like in terms of like the caps that Obama had about profits and all that kind of stuff. And also, I think there should be way more antitrust stuff that happens with insurance companies. But then you get the government support there on a regular basis, but the insurance companies become so interlinked with the government's roles that they can't get extracted. The insurance companies have a vested interest. And I think that's how you that's how you move America from right now what it has to government provided and working with it. And then eventually, hopefully, you get to more and more people just using the public system and not needing the private system.
Also, you've got to notice Carl again going to a really unbiased source, the enormously anti-just Daily Mail.
Yeah.
And he'll read a headline and that's it.
Yeah. So basically, it should say Tories leave NHS with 6 million people with waiting lists. That's what it should say there.
Hang on. So is Faye Queen Corey in the chat? Are you a German Iroquois? I don't know what the fuck you are now. I don't know what this is. You've confused me. You've frazzled my little brain.
Well, an hour of Carl will do that. I'm trying to make sense of his nonsense. All right, hitting play.
Operation waiting lists. That's what our public healthcare looks like. The British Medical Association said it's on the cusp of collapse.
Because of the Tories.
Like our health system is actually collapsing before our eyes.
Because of the Tories.
Every year they have to increase the amount of money that goes to it. And yet, nothing wrong with this, is there? Oh, universal healthcare is not a radical idea. Dude, it's not universally successful. It depends on the kind of country you are. And if it doesn't work for a homogenous 8 million person country, then I don't think it's going to work for a totally heterogeneous, like 330 million people country that has essentially porous borders. Like,
Carl doesn't know shit about shit.
The immigrants and the fact that there are different people mean it's impossible to give poor people healthcare in the richest nation ever to exist. What are you talking about? Also, just as a little aside, Israel's mark there? They can only afford that because the American taxpayer is subsidizing them to the tune of billions of dollars every year. Just saying.
All right, hitting play.
Like, it's really concerning that you just are not engaging with these important points. I know it would be...
They're not important points, Carl. They're just you bloviating outer nonsense. And
it's like these much poorer countries can have universal healthcare and often have much better health outcomes, and it's cheap.
Yeah, Carl's basically argued, because the Tories have made the NHS brought them to the point of collapse. That's proof that you can't have healthcare. No, it's proof that you can't have Tories and have a good NHS.
Yeah,
that's it.
Poorer nations. Slovenia is there. You know how poor Slovenia is, especially compared to the United States, New Zealand, Ireland, Iceland. There are no people in Iceland. Not literally, but there's is it 200,000 people or something?
Yeah, it's pretty small. I don't know, but all right. So yes, we're gonna power through.
Nice if everyone had X, but the Republicans are right on one thing at least, and that is declaring something to be a right does not magically render it immune from scarcity. Us, fifth biggest economy, first world nation, have this same problem.
Because you have a bad government that doesn't take care of your healthcare.
We don't have the same problem. There are no British citizens going bankrupt because of anything.
Yeah.
There's no one being denied healthcare coverage because they're too poor.
What it's saying here is that there's rising demand. If there's rising demand, that means that the government needs to respond to that and reorganize its priorities and make sure that its citizens that pay the taxes, that they give that money back to the people in the form of the health care that they've invested in their government to provide. That's their money. Okay, hitting play.
NHS is such a large amount of money that we piss away because we have virtually porous open borders as well.
Keeping all those people alive is such a waste of money, Carl.
Yeah, we waste money on healthcare.
Like hip replacements.
Money can ever be a waste. No, I mean, obviously you can use it inefficiently.
Yeah.
But the idea of spending money on healthcare as a waste shows what a fundamentally inhuman piece of shit he is. Deep down, what a selfish, narrow-minded little twat he is. And of course, again, having to bring in, we've got virtually porous borders. No, we haven't, Carl. No, we haven't. You are a liar.
How much were they going to spend on Trident? Or have they spent on Trident?
Fucking billions. Billions and billions. That is a piss of the wall. Because weapons we're never going to use.
Honestly, I mean, I know you guys have 3 nuclear submarines. you don't need 4?
You don't need any.
You don't need any. I mean, you have to do something with the nukes you have, obviously. But yeah, why Britain?
Fire them into the moon. Fuck it.
Like, you don't have to be a nuclear power anymore. Yeah, you just why run the cost of that? What does that get you?
I've said for a while, Britain needs to finally realise we're not the superpower anymore. We haven't been for a long time, but immediately afterwards, it can be difficult to tell. Now we're so far beyond the pale of not being the world superpower anymore that to try and keep up with that is financially ruinous. We need to stop, otherwise we're going to fuck ourselves into the dirt.
Yeah, I mean, you could take the money that was gonna be. I don't know where the Trident thing is because I haven't paid attention to it since it came up.
In Scotland, the nuclear bases are in Scotland, which is one of the complications of Scottish independence, because the SNP have said if they get their independence, they don't want nuclear weapons in Scotland. So what the fuck are we going to do? Because we don't have any ducks in England that can take them.
I mean, what is a good case for spending all that money on nuclear submarines?
Yeah. Can we sell them to France? Can we just say, we don't want them anymore? Do you want them? Because, I mean, it's either that or we're just going to leave them on the side of the highway next to the old fucking mattress.
Yeah. Imagine
we're just going to fly tip these fucking nuclear weapons.
Just drop them off near New York. Just park them outside. Yeah. Throw the keys, somebody. But yeah, imagine all the funds that are currently just poured into maintaining and running nuclear submarines that you haven't needed for decades. No. Let's be honest. And how many hip replacements could you get? How many beds could you have? How many kids could get vaccinated? You could. It would revolutionize the way in which we could do things. Yep. We could spend some of it on public services and some of it on tax cuts. And literally, yeah, exactly. It would have no financial impact in terms of increasing people's costs. Or begin to pay down the enormous national debt that we now have, because we want public services, but we don't want to pay for them. It's almost like we've not learned from Greece. Yeah. Yeah. All right, heading play.
This is not something that can go on. But instead of engaging with any of those facts, we just talk about how Bernie is leading a revolution. And unsurprisingly, this leaves him saying, well, anything's okay for the revolution. Enemies of the revolution can be doxxed, they can be attacked in the street, and ultimately, they can be gulagged, according to at least one of...
Carl.
Wow, you want to... fucking Stretch Armstrong over here is pulling it, man. Jesus. Yeah,
from Bernie Sanders to gulags in one breath.
Yeah, from Bernie Sanders, who you literally showed on the screen earlier, was like, violence is fucked up, man. Let's not do that. Saying, it's okay if we gulag people. Again, Carl, do you know what a gulag is?
He just knows.
Do you know what that means?
I don't think he really does.
No. And it's not just a thing leftists joke about on Twitter, right? It was an actual, political prison system.
And Bernie Sanders is not going to set that up. Look, the closest thing since the concentration camps that we set up to house Americans because of their descent on the West Coast in the States were the ones targeting women and kids and families, and some young men and older men who are seeking refugee and asylum. That seems way closer to doing gulags. All right, hitting play.
Bernie Sanders staffers. Paid staffers, shoot. Not just some rando. Paid staffers. Maybe we'll just accept the guillotine as the symbol of Bernie's revolution, shall we? This is wild.
That's some rando.
Yeah, you've noticed that doesn't have the name Sanders written underneath it, Carl. That's not a symbol of the Bernie Sanders movement at all.
Oh, he set up the story, made no connection at all with Sanders or whatever, and now he's just calling this Sanders with the bait and switch.
It's a very, very Stefan Molyneux thing. I was watching a thing the other day about his talk about the native people of Australia, the Aboriginal people. I promise you, I haven't just been watching stuff about First Nations people around the world, but it's been a thing. And he said that they probably killed all of their intelligent people because religion or something. And he mentioned the word probably first off. Yeah. And then for the rest of the talk, took that as a fact that they definitely killed all of their intelligent people for the next hour.
So, Carl does the same here.
Exactly, yeah. Set it up. Don't actually link it properly to anything. Don't give any actual evidence that it's connected to the thing. Then take it as read. Oh, yeah, this means this. And that's it. That's all you need to do.
And for any Sargon critic who would say, well, you could look it up if you're like, no, we put out a video. You want to check the information. You want to also take your audience along with you so that they know you're not full of shit. But of course, his audience is pretty gullible. But this is why you present stuff, so that we don't have to ask these questions. If you have it, you would back it up, is always my assumption. If you're going to make a claim and then you don't show me the evidence, my suspicion is that you don't actually have the evidence, so I shouldn't believe your claim. It's a null hypothesis. Show me the evidence and then I'll be convinced.
Yeah. Also,
show me that you're not full of shit.
Yeah. Also, by the way, I think someone makes a fair argument, although I think it's incorrect, and I'll explain why in a second. So the argument for Trident would be that if Ukraine gave away its nukes and look what happened. Now, that's true. But there are a number of issues. Firstly,
Geography.
Russia has no claim whatsoever, or actually, indeed, no one has any claim to British land at all. So any intervention would be obviously immoral. But also, we would still be a member of NATO, because most members of NATO don't have nuclear weapons.
Yep.
Not a prerequisite. So if we got rid of them, we would still be a member of NATO. And the Article 5 principle would kick in, and the Americans would definitely do that, because America has bases in Britain. So do you think if Russia invaded Britain, America would just go, oh, never mind? No, I think they might actually fight back.
Isn't there also some sort of agreement, like if someone tried to nuke Britain but not the United States would retaliate on Britain's behalf? That's the whole...
Article 5 of NATO.
Yeah.
That an attack upon one is an attack upon all. Now, there are some exceptions to that, which I think if one of the smaller nations had a bit of a beef, you might let them sort out themselves, because it's a small regional thing. But if one of the core members of NATO was attacked, NATO would fight back, which is one of the reasons that Russia doesn't attack NATO nations. It attacks nations like Georgia and Ukraine.
That's why it doesn't want Ukraine to become part of the EU or part of NATO or link up with the West anymore.
It's understandable, because if you look at the way nuclear bases are around Russia, there's basically a ring of steel around Russia. I can understand why they feel threatened by NATO and by America.
Yeah,
it's not the Cold War anymore. How about you chill the fuck out a bit? You know?
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get through this shit, because it's fucking Jesus.
Midnight.
It's nearly 1 there. Jesus.
Oh my God, the time flies when you're having fun making fun of Carl Anshu. Yes. All right, hitting play.
Absolutely wild. This is totally beyond the pale, and this is what Bernie... I mean, this woman has endorsed Bernie. Like, these are all Bernie's movements around him. Bernie might not be like a starry-eyed...
Just know they're not. Continue.
Radical, but he certainly has a lot of starry-eyed radicals around him, and he is responsible for cultivating that environment. And I'm sorry, you can't just pass this off. If Trump was saying, oh no, we're not going to oppress the blacks, we're just going to do a few things, and then his various allies started having nooses, I'd be like, look, that's I think a bit of a sign.
Oh, there you go. You can send him pics, Kev.
Yeah, exactly. That did happen, Carl.
Yeah, you can make a video about that next.
But something is going wrong there. Maybe Donald Trump is hiding his power level, but he doesn't do that. But Bernie does do that about millionaires and not millionaires.
He does, Carl.
Yep.
Yes, he does. Trump has done that.
Yep. You're just wrong, Carl. You don't read enough.
Anymore after it turned out he was one, but the billionaires now, they need the chop. Who has Mark Zuckerberg hurt? Why would you chop? You'd have to cut off Mark Zuckerberg's head. And I don't really think he's done anything particularly wrong. I don't approve of his general record on free speech, obviously. But this is not, you have destroyed society, therefore we must chop off your head. But that's what this is. Symbolically, but it's just symbolic though. It's all irony, you see. It's just symbolic. This is why.
Oh, now it's not a joke.
Oh, now it's symbolic. Gas chamber memes, they were funny. But guillotine memes, that's beyond the pale.
You're such a hypocrite, Carl. You're such a fucking hypocrite.
People keep getting shot, isn't it? But anyway, listen.
People don't keep getting shot. If anything, there are more Trump violence directed. People being arrested with guns and shit than in the other direction.
Exactly. How many fucking synagogues and mosques have been shot up? How many churches have been shot up?
Yeah. How many churches has Antifa shot up? How many synagogues? How many cemeteries have they desecrated for Jewish people? None. That's all your side, Carl.
Oh, God, James Carville. Fucking hell.
Yeah, he's going to basically stan Carville now for having a fight with Bernie. Can you believe that?
Surprise.
James Carville. He's the guy who got Bill Clinton elected. He's an ancient Democratic strategist. Right? And recently he was like, look, Bernie Sanders is leading a cult. And he is. That's correct. He knows that the Democrats, and he says, the end of days. And that is exactly what the Democrats are facing under the Bernie cult. It is true that this is the case. And Sanders didn't even rebut what you said.
Hang on, Carl. Why have you got a problem with it then? If that's true, if Sanders is leading your enemies into defeat, why are you bothered? Why are you trying to stop it? Or are you full of shit?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Where is he in all this? Because if it's become a cult, yeah.
Yeah,
Why is he?
just sit back and watch your enemies kill themselves. Why would you step in and try and stop them?
Yeah.
Or are you the worst bluffer in history, Carl?
Oh, there's only like 40 seconds left, which means like it's less
Oh,
than 30
I was
seconds.
enjoying this.
No, just he's a political hack. But the funny thing is, Carville's like, yeah, I'm a hack, but at least I'm not a communist. Last night on CNN, Bernie Sanders called me a political hack.
And you think that's a good point?
Yeah.
You think that's a good point?
Carl thinks that's a good point.
Oh, God. And Bernie can say, well, I'm neither then. Bye.
Yeah, you should go back and forth all night long.
That's exactly who the fuck I am. I am a political hack. I am not an ideologue. I'm not a purist. He thinks it's a pejorative. I kind of like it. At least I'm not a communist. And Bernie Sanders can't really say that, can he? You know, I mean,
Yes, he
honestly, I hope
can.
Bernie wins the nomination.
Yes, he actually can, because he isn't a communist.
Yeah.
He isn't actually even a socialist. I mean, by the American descriptor, yes, but
Well, Americans we're social.
they're wrong.
So yeah, exactly, basically. Yeah, but that was because of decades of anti-communist, anti-Marxist programming. That was the Republican
Which Carl
Red
didn't
Scare.
go through, but is still parroting the same
Yes,
shit.
he still
Look,
watches
James
the
Carville
videos
has-
or the films.
Yeah, James Carville has at least some excuse, although as a political strategist, he should know better. But at least, I mean, I presume he's just essentially going with, you need to back the centrist, because that's the Carville way, I suppose.
Yeah.
Whereas Sanders is obviously not that. But to say he's a communist, it's ludicrous.
Yeah, and Fake Queen Corey also caught the little white supremacist dog whistle that Carl dropped in there, hiding your power level.
Yeah. But again, he's not in a bubble.
No, and he's not in an echo chamber whatsoever. I think he was saying that he wants Bernie to win the nomination.
For the Democrats. It's going to be wall-to-wall Bernie endorsing the Soviet Union and Venezuela and all of the other places that he's endorsed. And at the end of the day, if he says, well, at least I'm not a communist, and Bernie Sanders says, well, hey, I'm not a communist either, we can always say, why not? What's wrong with communism?
What? What the
That was his mic drop moment.
I don't even know.
Oh, sorry, that was...
Generals.
Yeah, this is a
Why
really good
isn't part
channel.
of the Akkadian Empire, or the actual Sargon? Okay, cool.
Yeah, this is a good channel, by the way. I totally recommend this channel.
No, you've recommended it before, and I got into it. Yeah.
To the chat, too.
Yeah. What a weird way to end. What's that mean? We can all say, "What's wrong with communism?"
And then he thought that was a mic drop. You should
I
just
don't
really-
even. Yeah, I don't even know what he means. What does that mean, Carl?
Ah.
You fucking idiot. You're so stupid, you confuse me, Carl. That's how stupid you are. I can't even work out what you're trying to say.
Oh, wow. Well, it's been a long time since we've done a 3-hour plus.
a mega stream. And I'm glad we waited until we started an hour late, so everything's really, really late. That's
But
good.
you know what? Everything ran really, really well, other than the fact that I misdirected my audio for the cog music, which I can put on now softly if you want in the background.
Who cares?
It was all working fine. I'm really happy. So, yeah, do you have anything else you want to say?
No. No, I don't.
Okay. Well, then I think we're done.
Yeah.
All right,
Have you
everyone.
got Bone Up on your channel, Christy?
What? Oh, I don't know. I
So we're really good at wrapping this show up.
I just didn't come prepared with something else. I will tell you what I have done most recently.
A big fart?
Well, no, but that would be a
Because girls
possible.
don't
I mean, when you open
No,
up the
Girls
world
are
of
pretty
possibility.
angels who smell of roses constantly.
I managed to get my homework in 4 hours before it was due. I did a 7-minute video on the 4 elements of Creative Commons licenses. The
Fucking hell, shoot me.
The 6
Jesus.
license combination that you can construct from the 4 elements, and then the 3 layers of the elements: the legal layer, the human readable readable layer, and then the machine readable layer, which is designed to be read with
shut up,
metadata
fucking
on
Bolshevik.
advanced search engines like Google or Google search engines.
Absolute communist. Shut up. God, that's tedious, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I had to read the chapter, write the script, do the audio.
I don't know why you have to
Produce
inflict
it.
it on me. I don't know why I have to do that. I've got enough boring shit in my life. Jesus.
I'm gonna premiere after I go back and clean them up because I'm not happy with them because the first draft and everything. But they were enough for the points. I'll do premieres on all my copyright videos sometime.
Well, look
in
forward
April.
to that.
I'll make you come and join it every
You
single
made
time.
me come, will you? I don't think it will. I'll be honest, I don't think it will.
Oh, this was fun. Okay.
Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, go away, everybody. We're done.
Oh God, she's picking up from that.
And you don't have anything coming up on your main channel.
I definitely don't. No.
Do you have anything coming up on your backup? I got
Yeah,
my.
my backup channel. I'm going to put all the old episodes of St. Manosphere.
I think you should call it your Flagged Again channel.
Probably. Yeah, and if I get round to getting all of those out, and I'm still not back on my main channel, I might premiere the new episode of that on that
Ooh,
channel.
exciting.
Ooh, mind blowing in the most boring way possible.
All right, well, get ready to have Shoe on Head complain about you and Carl too, because hopefully not. Hopefully they'll just stop talking about
Well, I
me
don't
when
know
it
if
comes
I'm
to
bending
this
over
stuff.
backwards to protect you, and you and Carl are the same. Does that mean I have to protect Carl?
Only no, only on Tuesdays.
It's only on Tuesday though. But now, yeah, it's gone past midnight. It is Tuesday.
Oh
Fuck.
shit! Now I'm Carl. Wait a minute. After
You're
midnight,
Carl.
I turned into a Carl. No, I'm gonna have to take a shower now.
It's okay. It'll only last 5 minutes. Hey.
Oh, very good. And on that bombshell, yeah, go out over to Kevin's channel, subscribe to him.
And
Please
watch my no videos.
watch your no videos. Check my Twitter feed for the bootleg copy of the flagged video. Also,
Bootleg copy of your own show.
yes, had to steal it from YouTube. I think Culture Shots said he might be mirroring it. Someone else said they might be mirroring it, so it might turn up. And they're looking for flags, I guess. So thanks to those people who are supporting Kevin and his channel and our content.
Yes, thank you.
All right, well then, thanks to the people in the chat for sticking with us, like all 80 some or whatever you. I don't know. I'm not going to move the button. And to the people in the future watching all the way to the end, wow, you're brave. And for the people on the podcast, this is probably going to be a 2-parter. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoyed the wait. And from me and Kevin, I guess all that's left to be said is that I have been Christy. You guys have all been awesome. Kevin has been awesome. Zoom has been awesome. The show has been awesome. I'm very happy with how things went tonight. So goodbye from me. And say goodbye, Kev.
Goodbye, Kev.
Yay! Even that went well. Hurrah!
Awesome.